कि इसी से दुनिया भर में हमारी पहचान थी। ये निर्यात का एक ऐसा प्राचीन मॉडल था जिसमें बहुत बड़ी भूमिका हमारे कारीगरों की थी। लेकिन गुलामी के लंबे कालखंड में ये मॉडल भी चरमरा गया, उसको बहुत बड़ा नुकसान भी हो गया। आजादी के बाद भी हमारे कारीगरों को सरकार से एक जो इंटरवेंशन की आवश्यकता थी, बहुत ही सुघड़ तरीके से इंटरवेंशन की आवश्यकता थी, जहां जरूरत पड़े मदद की आवश्यकता थी, वो नहीं मिल पाई। नतीजा ये हुआ कि आज अधिकांश लोग इस अनऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर से सिर्फ अपना जीवन यापन करने के लिए कुछ जुगाड़ करके गुजारा कर लेते हैं। कई लोग अपना पुश्तैनी और पारंपरिक व्यवसाय छोड़ रहे हैं। उनके पास आज की आवश्यकताओं के अनुसार ढलने के लिए सामर्थ्य कम पड़ रहा है। हम इस वर्ग को ऐसे ही अपने हाल पर नहीं छोड़ सकते। ये वो वर्ग हैं जो सदियों से पारंपरिक तरीकों के उपयोग से अपने शिल्प को बचाए हुए हैं। ये वो वर्ग हैं जो अपने असाधारण कौशल और यूनिक क्रिएशन से अपनी पहचान बनाए हुए हैं।
And we're hearing about another very significant summons now. Tejaswi Yadav, we believe, has been summoned by the CBI. To take our viewers through this I'm being joined by my senior editor, Shawan Sen. Shawan, if you could tell our viewers about this latest summons by the Central Bureau of Investigation, what is it regarding?
Well, in the land for jobs scam, the Central Bureau of Investigation has now summoned RJD leader Tejaswi Yadav. In fact, he was earlier summoned on 4th of February, which he did not turn up, and now he was asked to appear today, is what been given to understand. So far, there hasn't been any response from Tejaswi Yadav, whether at all he is going to respond to the summons that have been issued against him. Remember, there are certain Benami properties that have actually come under the
So what we're hearing about is a CBI summons now being issued to Tejaswi Yadav, Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar. Already for the past few days we've been seeing their CBI teams arriving at the residence of Tejaswi Yadav's parents, his mother Rabri Devi, as well as his sister's residence here in New Delhi. In Patna and here in New Delhi as well, CBI teams have been arriving there for questioning. Now we are hearing that there is a summons that has been issued by the Central Bureau of Investigation. But is it about the same land for jobs scam that we've seen the CBI getting into detailed conversation with as far as Lalu Prasad Yadav's family is concerned? That remains to be seen. I'm still trying to get more details and information regarding the summons now that has been issued to Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar, son of Lalu Prasad Yadav and Rabri Devi. And already we had been seeing how the CBI's heat had been turned on the Yadav family over the issue of over the case land for jobs scam in recent days. And yes, there you viewers, you have it on your screen. It's the land for jobs scam once again. CBI issuing a summons to Tejaswi Yadav, this time Shawan Sen, my senior editor. Joining me on the broadcast, Shawan, over to you. I'll try and get in touch with Shawan in a bit, but now let me tell our viewers, the Bihar Deputy Chief Minister Tejaswi Yadav has been issued a summons by the Central Bureau of Investigation. And this, we believe, is with regards to the land for jobs scam. The past few days have seen the CBI heat turned on the Yadav family, whether it's Tejaswi's sister Misa Bharti or Tejaswi Yadav himself or his mother, the former Chief Minister of Bihar, Rabri Devi, or Lalu Prasad Yadav. It's the land for jobs scam that's been a major highlight in these past few days, with the scanner being on the family of Lalu Prasad Yadav, former Railways Minister, during whose tenure as the Union Railways Minister between 2004 and 2009. This scam is said to have occurred, where jobs were given away in Group D category in the Indian Railways in return for land which various members of Lalu Prasad Yadav's family had bought at throwaway prices. Now, Tejaswi Yadav in the dock. He has been issued a summons by the CBI. This is with regard to the land for job scam, and so the CBI heat now being turned on the Bihar Deputy Chief Minister, who had just a few days ago written a letter to the Prime Minister along with various other political leaders regarding their grievances about the use of investigative agencies against opposition leaders. But this is a scam that dates back to 2004 and 2009. It's a scam that's well known. Now, Tejaswi Yadav summoned by the Central Bureau of Investigation. We're trying to get more details and updates. Earlier, the CBI team had been seen a few days ago at the residence of the former Chief Minister of the state, Rabri Devi, Tejaswi's mother, and also at the residence of Mesa Bharti. The scam involves the buying of... joining me is Sanika now from our Mumbai newsroom. Sanika, if you could take our viewers through the significance of this move by the CBI. Already the past few days, we've seen how CBI heat has been turned on the Yadav family. Now, Tejaswi Yadav has been issued a summons.
Yes.
He was very young during the time that the scam occurred, but his name too figures in the charge sheet, if I'm not wrong. Over to you, Sanika.
So, Bihar Deputy Chief Minister is also under the scanner in the land for job scam. Now, just giving our viewers some context on what has happened in the last few days, how the investigation into the land for job scam has picked up speed, picked up steam. In fact, on Monday, it was Rabri Devi, where her statement was recorded in connection with the scam. The CBI officials were at Rabri Devi's residence to record her statement. A few days back, we also had Lalu Yadav being questioned, 2 rounds of questioning that took place in connection with the land for job scam. Yesterday, there were multiple raids across the country in Mumbai, Delhi, as well as Patna. The Enforcement Directorate essentially had carried out these searches in multiple cities of Bihar and other locations. These raids were also conducted on premises of former Chief Minister Lalu Prasad Yadav's family, and also close aides of Lalu Prasad Yadav in connection with the money laundering investigation into the same land for job scam. Now, CBI, Central Bureau of Investigation, has summoned Bihar Deputy Chief Minister Tejaswi Yadav. In fact, just giving our viewers some information about the kind of recoveries that were made in the raids that took place on a Friday. Sources say that during the raids, 53 lakh rupee cash, 1,900 US dollars, about 540 grams of gold and bullion, and 1.5 kg of gold jewelry was seized in the raids that were conducted by the Enforcement Directorate on a Friday. Now, these raids were also conducted in South Delhi, where sources say Lalu Prasad Yadav's son, who is the current Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar, Tejaswi Yadav, was also present. Now, this house, which was raided by the ED, is in Delhi's New Friends Colony area and is the registered address of a beneficiary company, is what we're getting to know. In fact, we're trying to get Shravan also to give us more details about the CBI investigation that is being conducted in the land for jobs scam. Shravan, over to you.
Well, in fact, Sarika, the latest details that we are picking up is that the Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar, Tejaswi Yadav, was actually first summoned on 4th of February there wasn't any response really coming in from Tejaswi Yadav. In fact, he's now been asked to appear before the agency here in the national capital sometime today. So far, the agency hasn't received any communication from Tejaswi Yadav whether at all he is going to appear or he won't. Now, that is still not very clear at this point in time. Now, this comes just a day after there were searches that were carried out by the enforcement directorate in the same very case. Now, as far as Tejaswi Yadav is concerned, remember, the Central Bureau of Investigation essentially suspects that the proceeds of crime generated from the land for job scam was essentially being diverted in Benami properties. There are certain properties in Gurugram, including a mall which has basically come under the scanner, and they believe that it has links to the Deputy Chief Minister Tejaswi Yadav. An allegation that has been completely refuted by Tejaswi Yadav, who says that there is no link whatsoever, but however he's essentially being dragged. Why? Because he believes that the BJP is essentially targeting him through the Central Bureau of Investigation. If we purely stick to the facts of this entire case and what is being investigated by the Central Bureau of Investigation, this case is pertaining to the time when Lalu Prasad Yadav, Tejaswi Yadav's father, was the Union Railway Minister. And there were jobs that were available in the railway department, which we are now given to understand that undeserving candidates were actually given the job in lieu of land parcels that were given to Lalu Prasad Yadav and his family members. In fact, they've come across enough evidence, including properties, papers of these properties, where there is a direct involvement, and the fact that they believe that these candidates had given the land to Lalu Prasad Yadav's family members. Land parcels spread across various parts of the state of Bihar. Apart from that, here too in the national capital, that there are certain properties that have come under the scanner. But as far as Tejaswi Yadav is concerned, they believe that the money that was actually generated from these very properties, they were basically being diverted for the construction of a mall in Gurugram, where searches have also been carried out in the past by the Central Bureau of Investigation.
Now, that being said, Shravan, Priyanka this side now, we had seen that these raids were also being conducted by the Enforcement Directorate and now, of course, the action is also being taken. But if you could put this into perspective as to the evidences as well that have the Enforcement Directorate has also gathered against Tejaswi Yadav as well, Shravan.
Well, at this stage, Priyanka, all that we can say is that when the searches were basically carried out about a couple of months ago in Gurugram, and this was pertaining to a mall that was essentially being constructed, they suspected that the proceeds of crime that was generated from this particular scam was being diverted into the construction of this mall. In fact, Tejaswi Yadav did come on record to say that these are baseless allegations that have been leveled against him. In fact, he's also dared the agency to put out the names of those who are directly involved. In fact, he says that there is no way that the under construction mall in Gurugram can be connected to him. In fact, there is a company that has basically come under the scanner whose name has surfaced during the investigation, and they believe that this company has played an instrumental role in diverting the funds, and the funds were essentially used for the construction of the mall, which the Deputy Chief Minister has completely refused. As far as the other aspects of this investigation goes, his mother, Rabri Devi, has basically come directly under the scanner, primarily because there are certain land parcels in various parts of the state which are directly in the name of Rabri Devi, as well as his sister has also come under the scanner of the Central Bureau of Investigation. The net, if you look at the allegation is clear that they are saying that when he was the Union Railway Minister, that is Lalu Prasad Yadav, he had essentially made those promises through his private secretary Bhola, who's also come under the scanner, in fact was arrested also, and it is through him that undeserving candidates were given jobs in the railway department, and in lieu of what they say were land parcels and also cash that was actually received by the family members.
Well, absolutely, Shravan. Requesting you to stay with us as I also bring in our colleague Prakash Singh from Bihar right now. And Prakash, if I could come to you, we had seen these raids being conducted there.
by the investigating agencies, and now of course there is a summons that has been issued to Tejaswi Yadav as well. How are we looking at the ground situation right now? What were the raids being conducted and the location where the raids were being conducted? What has been seized as of now by the authorities as well? And anything else that you're also picking up from your sources there on the ground as well, Prakash?
Well, as far as Tejaswi Yadav is concerned, he has been summoned by the CBI in connection with the IRCTC scam as well as the land for jobs scam. Primarily, he is an accused in the IRCTC scam because there were certain incriminating documents that were recovered from the raid premises in 2017, and thereafter a case was registered against him, which is ongoing in the Delhi court. Now, what we get to know that earlier, as part of the summons that were issued to Lalu Yadav, Rabri Devi, Tejaswi Yadav was also summoned by the CBI, but he had given an alibi that because of the ongoing Vidhan Sabha session, he cannot participate in the interrogation. So now that in the aftermath of the raid that were conducted by the ED yesterday at different places all over the country, Abu Dojana, his sisters, and apparently his residence also in Friends Colony in Delhi, what we get to know that CBI has again asked him to appear, and it has been said by the CBI that he would be summoned, and most likely Tejaswi Yadav, since he is in Delhi, most likely he would go to the CBI. That's what we get to know, and he would be interrogated on the set of questionnaires that has been prepared by the CBI, because remember, on 15th of March, the plea would be heard in the case would be heard in the Delhi court, and before that, all evidences are being corroborated by the CBI so that it can be put forth before the court.
Well, that's right. Thanks a lot, Prakash, for joining us and giving us details of this now fresh summons that has been issued by the CBI to Tejaswi Yadav. And of course, we will be tracking this story very, very closely, since we have seen the multiple agencies carrying out the investigation into this matter, and now a fresh summons that has also now been sent by the CBI to Tejaswi Yadav. We keep a track of the story for the moment we move on. Time now here for a short break, viewers. Coming up on the other side, Kavita to be questioned by the investigating agencies. Stay tuned for all the updates on the other side.
आप इंडिया आते हैं and then you start special forces, NSG, गरुड़, मार्कोस. किस तरीके से ये सफर शुरू हुआ स्पेशल फोर्सेस को ट्रेन करने?
कर्नल साहब, तो ही वॉज एट दैट टाइम CEO of 6AR, और पहली अपॉर्चुनिटी उन्होंने मुझे दी
अच्छा
टू ट्रेन हिज रेजिमेंट, एंड ही आस्क्ड मी कि आप इनको नाइफ टू नाइफ कॉम्बैट में खुकरी ट्रेन करो. जब मैंने ADG इन्फेंट्री के सामने वो डेमो दिया और उनको वो बहुत अलग लिखा, एज लॉन्ग एज आवर सोल्जर्स आर सेफ, दे गेट द बेस्ट, आई हैव नो प्रॉब्लम.
Focusing about the future of your party, 21 years after it was founded, now you've taken the national foray. The BRS has come into the picture. You're looking at stitching an alliance, and which becomes far more difficult. We've seen in multiple states there isn't any coordination between the opposition parties. So how exactly are you really looking at?
Our goal right now for 2024 is to dislodge the current Bharatiya Janata Party government at the center. For that goal, whoever has a similar line of thinking, we will work with them. KCR Garu had gone to meet Mamta Di, then he has gone to meet Uddhav Thackeray ji, Sharad Pawar ji. Every single politician in this country, Honorable KCR Garu has approached to make sure there is a understanding.
कहीं ना कहीं मार्शल आर्ट्स लड़ाई झगड़े खून खराबे से ज्यादा आई थिंक इट्स अबाउट हार्मनी ऑल्सो।
सर इट्स अ पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम।
पूरा मार्शल आर्ट्स
बिल्कुल
जी।
आपकी फौज में भी यही है, डिसिप्लिन, माइंड, बॉडी एंड स्पिरिट इज इन कमांड ऑफ यू। आपके पास गन है बट आप किसी सिविलियन को गुस्सा आते गोली तो नहीं मार देते ना। यू हैव टू कंट्रोल दैट कंट्रोल कम्स फ्रॉम द माइंड एंड फ्रॉम द ट्रेनिंग। सो दैट जो आर्मी में हम बोलते हैं फोर्स कंटिन्यूम, किस फोर्स पे कितना फोर्स देना है, ये मेंटल कंट्रोल ट्रेनिंग से आता है, करेक्ट ट्रेनिंग से।
I see there are two pictures that have been doing the rounds, and you are seen in that picture along with Arun Ramachandra Pillai and Abhishek Bonpally. Both of them happen to be accused in that case. You are not an accused. Do you know Mr. Pillai and Mr. Bonpally?
A few of them I know, I might have known. Point here is, how are these few people that I know have been treated by ED? There are ED excesses today, there are IT excesses today, there are CBI excesses today happening in this country on the behest of a political party in power.
ये शाओलिन का मामला, ये मार्शल आर्ट्स का, वेदर इट्स कुंग फू, वेदर इट्स अदर मार्शल आर्ट्स दैट यू हैव लर्नड सो मेनी, शाओलिन कितना टफ है?
सर बहुत टफ था। वहाँ 6 दिन 7 घंटा हर रोज। हमारा पहला एक्सरसाइज होता था 1000 मीटर का पहाड़ है, उसको हमको भागना पड़ता था 20 मिनट में, एंड लाइक अ डॉग ऑन हैंड एंड फीट वी हैड टू क्रॉल बैक द हिल। देन वी हैड टू बी इन अ स्क्वाट पोजीशन फॉर एटलीस्ट 1 आवर, और हमारी टांगें ऐसे हिल रही होती थी, एंड माई ईच एंड एवरी पार्ट ऑफ माई बॉडी वॉज पेन।
Welcome back, viewers. Top stories at 10:30. Bihar Deputy Chief Minister summoned by the CBI in connection with the land for jobs scam. Kavita to appear before Enforcement Directorate in connection with the Liquor Gate probe. In jail, Manish Sisodia draws freedom fighter analogy to attack the central government.
उसमें अशोक गहलोत जी को अपन समझे ट्वीट।
Bharatiya Janata Party is making it very clear that look, it's our own government, but we are starting our own investigation. We are doing it. What moral ground can Kavita or Manish Sisodia take?
Karnataka, an MLS son is caught with 8 crores. They want to do an investigation with Lokayukta. Now in Telangana, we red-handedly caught agents of Bharatiya Janata Party trying to purchase our MLS. And CBI comes over, takes over the entire investigation and says states cannot do it, we will do it. Now in Karnataka, if Lokayukta can do it, why in Telangana SIT cannot do it?
आप इंडिया आते हैं एंड देन यू स्टार्ट स्पेशल फोर्सेस, NSG, गरुड़, मार्कोस। किस तरीके से ये सफर शुरू हुआ स्पेशल फोर्सेस को ट्रेन करने?
कर्नल साहब, तो ही वॉज एट दैट टाइम CEO of 6AR, और पहली अपॉर्चुनिटी उन्होंने मुझे दी।
अच्छा।
टू ट्रेन हिज रेजिमेंट, एंड ही आस्क्ड मी कि आप उनको नाइफ टू नाइफ कॉम्बैट में खुकरी ट्रेन करो। जब मैंने ADG इन्फेंट्री के सामने वो डेमो दिया और उनको वो बहुत अलग लिखा, एज लॉन्ग एज आवर सोल्जर्स आर सेफ, दे गेट द बेस्ट, आई हैव नो प्रॉब्लम।
Focusing about the future of your party, 21 years after it was founded, now you've taken the national foray. The BRS has come into the picture. You're looking at stitching an alliance, and which becomes far more difficult. We've seen in multiple states there isn't any coordination between the opposition parties. So how exactly are you really looking at?
Our goal right now for 2024 is to dislodge the current Bharatiya Janata Party government at the center. For that goal, whoever has a similar line of thinking, we will work with them. KCR Garu had gone to meet Mamta Di, then he has gone to meet Uddhav Thackeray ji, Sharad Pawar ji. Every single politician in this country, Honorable KCR Garu has approached to make sure there is a understanding.
कहीं ना कहीं मार्शल आर्ट्स लड़ाई झगड़े खून खराबे से ज्यादा आई थिंक इट्स अबाउट हार्मनी ऑल्सो।
सर इट्स अ पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम।
पूरा मार्शल आर्ट्स
बिल्कुल
जी।
आपकी फौज में भी यही है, डिसिप्लिन, माइंड, बॉडी एंड स्पिरिट इज इन कमांड ऑफ यू। आपके पास गन है बट आप किसी सिविलियन को गुस्सा आते गोली तो नहीं मार देते ना। यू हैव टू कंट्रोल दैट कंट्रोल कम्स फ्रॉम द माइंड एंड फ्रॉम द ट्रेनिंग। सो दैट जो आर्मी में हम बोलते हैं फोर्स कंटिन्यूम, किस फोर्स पे कितना फोर्स देना है, ये मेंटल कंट्रोल ट्रेनिंग से आता है, करेक्ट ट्रेनिंग से।
I see there are two pictures that have been doing the rounds, and you are seen in that picture along with Arun Ramachandra Pillai and Abhishek Bonpally. Both of them happen to be accused in that case. You are not an accused. Do you know Mr. Pillai and Mr. Bonpally?
A few of them I know, I might have known. Point here is, how are these few people that I know have been treated by ED? There are ED excesses today, there are IT excesses today, there are CBI excesses today happening in this country on the behest of a political party in power.
ये शाओलिन का मामला, ये मार्शल आर्ट्स का, वेदर इट्स कुंग फू, वेदर इट्स अदर मार्शल आर्ट्स दैट यू हैव लर्नड सो मेनी, शाओलिन कितना टफ था?
सर बहुत टफ था। वहाँ 6 दिन 7 घंटा हर रोज। हमारा पहला एक्सरसाइज होता था 1000 मीटर का पहाड़ है, उसको हमको भागना पड़ता था 20 मिनट में, एंड लाइक अ डॉग ऑन हैंड एंड फीट वी हैड टू क्रॉल बैक द हिल। देन वी हैड टू बी इन अ स्क्वाट पोजीशन फॉर एटलीस्ट 1 आवर, और हमारी टांगें ऐसी हिल रही होती थी, एंड my each and every part of my body was paining, it was crying, muscles were sore। मतलब उस वक्त मैं कॉम्बी फ्रेम होती थी, कॉम्बी फ्रेम ले लेके ट्रेनिंग करता था मैं।
Bharatiya Janata Party is making it very clear that look, it's our own government, but we are starting our own investigation. We are doing it. What moral ground can K. Kavita or Manish Sisodia take?
Karnataka, an MLA's son is caught with 8 crores. They want to do an investigation with Lokayukta. Now in Telangana, we red-handedly caught agents of Bharatiya Janata Party trying to purchase our MLAs. And CBI comes over, takes over the entire investigation and says states cannot do it, we will do it. Now in Karnataka, if Lokayukta can do it, why in Telangana SIT cannot do it?
आप इंडिया आते हैं एंड देन यू स्टार्ट स्पेशल फोर्सेस, एनएसजी, गरुड़, मार्कोस। किस तरीके से ये सफर शुरू हुआ स्पेशल फोर्सेस को ट्रेन करने?
कर्नल साहब तो ही वाज एट दैट टाइम CEO of 6AR, और पहली अपॉर्चुनिटी उन्होंने मुझे दी।
अच्छा।
टू ट्रेन हिज रेजिमेंट, एंड ही आस्क्ड मी कि आप इनको नाइफ टू नाइफ कॉम्बैट में खुकरी ट्रेन करो। जब मैंने ADG इन्फेंट्री के सामने वो डेमो दिया और उनको वो बहुत अलग लिखा, एज लॉन्ग एज आवर सोल्जर्स आर सेफ, दे गेट द बेस्ट, आई हैव नो प्रॉब्लम।
Focusing about the future of your party, 21 years after it was founded, now you've taken the national foray. The BRS has come into the picture. You're looking at stitching an alliance, and which becomes far more difficult. We've seen in multiple states there isn't any coordination between the opposition parties. So how exactly are you really looking at?
Our goal right now for 2024 is to dislodge the current Bharatiya Janata Party government at the center. For that goal, whoever has a similar line of thinking, we will work with them. KCR Garu had gone to meet Mamta Di, then he has gone to meet Uddhav Thackeray ji, Sharad Pawar ji, every single
Welcome back, viewers. Of course, we are tracking one of the biggest stories today is that of the summons that has now been issued to Tejaswi Yadav by the CBI. We had seen that Enforcement Directorate as well had carried out various raids in the residences and premises with the connection to the land for job scam as well. And we had seen that an earlier summons by the CBI had also been issued to Tejaswi Yadav on 4th of February. Now, once again, a fresh summons has been issued and trouble mounting for the Yadavs when it comes to the investigation on this scam.
Been summoned by CBI today to appear in front of the agency. Right now we have to slip into a short break, but on the other side of the break we'll give you more live and breaking visuals straight from ED and update on Tejaswi Yadav. Stay tuned with us.
ये शाओलिन का मामला, ये मार्शल आर्ट्स का, whether it's kung fu, whether it's other martial arts that you've learned so many. शाओलिन कितना टफ था?
सर बहुत टफ था। वहाँ 6 दिन 7 घंटा हर रोज हमारा पहला एक्सरसाइज होता था। 1000 मीटर का पहाड़ है, उसको हमको भागना पड़ता था 20 मिनट में, एंड लाइक अ डॉग ऑन हैंड एंड फीट वी हैड टू क्रॉल बैक द हिल, देन वी हैड टू बी इन अ स्क्वाट पोजीशन फॉर एटलीस्ट 1 आवर, और हमारी टांगें ऐसे हिल रही होती थी, एंड माई ईच एंड एवरी पार्ट ऑफ माई बॉडी वॉज पेनिंग, इट वॉज क्राइंग, मसल्स वॉज सोर। मतलब उस वक्त मैं कॉम्बी फ्रेम होती थी, कॉम्बी फ्रेम ले लेके ट्रेनिंग करता था मैं।
Bharatiya Janata Party is making it very clear that look, it's our own government, but we are starting our own investigation. We are doing it. What moral ground can Kavita or Manish Sisodia take?
Karnataka, an MLS son is caught with 8 crores. They want to do an investigation with Lokayukta. Now in Telangana, we red-handedly caught agents of Bharatiya Janata Party trying to purchase our MLS. And CBI comes over, takes over the entire investigation and says states cannot do it, we will do it. Now in Karnataka, if Lokayukta can do it, why in Telangana SIT cannot do it?
आप इंडिया आते हैं and then you start special forces, NSG, गरुड़, मार्कोस। किस तरीके से ये सफर शुरू हुआ स्पेशल फोर्सेस को ट्रेन करने?
कर्नल साहब, तो ही वॉज एट दैट टाइम CEO of 6AR, और पहली अपॉर्चुनिटी उन्होंने मुझे दी
अच्छा
टू ट्रेन हिज रेजिमेंट, एंड ही आस्क्ड मी कि आप इनको नाइफ टू नाइफ कॉम्बैट में खुकरी ट्रेन करो। जब मैंने ADG इन्फेंट्री के सामने वो डेमो दिया और उनको वो बहुत अलग लिखा, एज लॉन्ग एज आवर सोल्जर्स आर सेफ, दे गेट द बेस्ट, आई हैव नो प्रॉब्लम।
Focusing about the future of your party, 21 years after it was founded, now you've taken the national foray. The BRS has come into the picture. You're looking at stitching an alliance, and which becomes far more difficult. We've seen in multiple states there isn't any coordination between the opposition parties. So how exactly are you really looking at?
Our goal right now for 2024 is to dislodge the current Bharatiya Janata Party government at the center. For that goal, whoever has a similar line of thinking.
Welcome back, viewers. Two of the biggest stories that we are tracking for you today. In fact, we are tracking for you how the investigating agencies are carrying out their crackdown on corruption today. And of course, the recent development is that of the CBI issuing a fresh summons to now Tejaswi Yadav in the land for jobs scam. And we had seen Enforcement Directorate yesterday as well at his residence at the premises in Bihar as well, where they were carrying out searches as well. And now, of course, this is the second summons. On the other side, we also see the Enforcement Directorate in full swing when it comes to Kavita's questioning as well. She has now been summoned and we are standing by in any minute now. In fact, we can expect some updates when Kavita will be arriving at the ED office and she will be questioned in this liquor scam case as well, since there were some links of the South group as well that were coming to light. We are tracking both these stories very, very closely for you. For the moment, we slip into a very short break.
see there are two pictures that have been doing the rounds, and you are seen in that picture along with Arun Ramachandra Pillai and Abhishek Bonpal. Both of them happen to be accused in that case. You are not an accused. Do you know Mr. Pillai and Mr. Bonpal?
A few of them I know, I might have known. Point here is, how are these few people that I know have been treated by ED? There are ED excesses today, there are IT excesses today, there are CBI excesses today happening in this country on the behest of a political party in power.
ये शाओलिन का मामला, ये मार्शल आर्ट्स का, whether it's kung fu, whether it's other martial arts that you've learned so many, शाओलिन कितना टफ है?
सर बहुत टफ था। वहाँ 6 दिन 7 घंटा हर रोज। हमारा पहला एक्सरसाइज होता था 1000 मीटर का पहाड़ है, उसको हमको भागना पड़ता था 20 मिनट में, एंड लाइक अ डॉग ऑन हैंड एंड फीट वी हैड टू क्रॉल बैक द हिल, देन वी हैड टू बी इन अ स्क्वाट पोजीशन फॉर एटलीस्ट 1 आवर, और हमारी टांगें ऐसे हिल रही होती थी, एंड my each and every part of my body was paining, it was crying, muscles were sore। मतलब उस वक्त मैं कॉम्बी फ्रेम होती थी, कॉम्बी फ्रेम ले लेके ट्रेनिंग करता था मैं।
Bharatiya Janata Party is making it very clear that look, it's our own government, but we are starting our own investigation. We are doing it. What moral ground can K. Kavita or Manish Sisodia take?
Karnataka, an MLS son is caught with 8 crores. They want to do an investigation with Lokayukta. Now in Telangana, we red-handedly caught agents of Bharatiya Janata Party trying to purchase our MLS. And CBI comes over, takes over the entire investigation and says states cannot do it, we will do it. Now in Karnataka, if Lokayukta can do it, why in Telangana SIT cannot do it?
आप इंडिया आते हैं एंड देन यू स्टार्ट स्पेशल फोर्सेस, एनएसजी, गरुड़, मार्कोस। किस तरीके से ये सफर शुरू हुआ स्पेशल फोर्सेस को ट्रेन करने?
कर्नल साहब, तो ही वाज एट दैट टाइम CEO of 6AR, और पहली अपॉर्चुनिटी उन्होंने मुझे दी
अच्छा
टू ट्रेन हिज रेजिमेंट, एंड ही आस्क्ड मी कि आप इनको नाइफ टू नाइफ कॉम्बैट में खुकरी ट्रेन करो। जब मैंने ADG इन्फेंट्री के सामने वो डेमो दिया और उनको वो बहुत अलग लिखा, एज लॉन्ग एज आवर सोल्जर्स आर सेफ, दे गेट द बेस्ट, आई हैव नो प्रॉब्लम।
Focusing about the future of your party, 21 years after it was founded, now you've taken the national foray. The BRS has come into the picture. You're looking at stitching an alliance, and which becomes far more difficult. We've seen in multiple states there isn't any coordination between the opposition parties. So how exactly are you really looking at?
Our goal right now for 2024 is to dislodge the current Bharatiya Janata Party government at the center. For that goal, whoever has a similar line of thinking, we will work with them. KCR Garu had gone to meet Mamta Di, then he has gone to meet Uddhav Thackeray ji, Sharad Pawar ji. Every single politician in this country, Honorable KCR Garu has approached to make sure there is a understanding.
कहीं ना कहीं मार्शल आर्ट्स लड़ाई झगड़े खून खराबे से ज्यादा आई थिंक इट्स अबाउट हार्मनी ऑल्सो।
सर इट्स अ पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम,
पूरा मार्शल आर्ट्स।
बिल्कुल
जी,
आपकी फौज में भी यही है, डिसिप्लिन, माइंड, बॉडी एंड स्पिरिट इज इन कमांड ऑफ यू। आपके पास गन है, बट आप किसी सिविलियन को गुस्सा आते गोली तो नहीं मार देते ना, यू हैव टू कंट्रोल दैट कंट्रोल कम्स फ्रॉम द माइंड एंड फ्रॉम द ट्रेनिंग। सो दैट जो आर्मी में हम बोलते हैं फोर्स कंटिन्यूम, किस फोर्स पे कितना फोर्स देना है, ये मेंटल कंट्रोल ट्रेनिंग से आता है, करेक्ट ट्रेनिंग से।
I see there are two pictures that have been doing the rounds, and you are seen in that picture along with Arun Ramachandra Pillai and Abhishek Bonpal. Both of them happen to be accused in that case. You are not an accused. Do you know Mr. Pillai and Mr. Bonpal?
A few of them I know, I might have known. Point here is, how are these few people that I know have been treated by ED? There are ED excesses today, there are IT excesses today, there are CBI excesses today happening in this country on the behest of a political party in power.
ये शाओलिन का मामला, ये मार्शल आर्ट्स का, वेदर इट्स कुंग फू, वेदर इट्स अदर मार्शल आर्ट्स दैट यू हैव लर्नड सो मेनी, शाओलिन कितना टफ था?
सर बहुत टफ था। वहाँ 6 दिन 7 घंटा हर रोज हमारा पहला एक्सरसाइज होता था। 1000 मीटर का पहाड़ है, उसको हमको भागना पड़ता था 20 मिनट में, एंड लाइक अ डॉग ऑन हैंड एंड फीट वी हैड टू क्रॉल बैक द हिल, देन वी हैड टू बी इन अ स्क्वाट पोजीशन फॉर एटलीस्ट 1 आवर, और हमारी टांगें ऐसी हिल रही होती थी, एंड my each and every part of my body was paining, it was crying, muscles were sore। मतलब उस वक्त मैं कॉम्बी फ्रेम होती थी, कॉम्बी फ्रेम ले लेके ट्रेनिंग करता था मैं।
Bharatiya Janata Party is making it very clear that look, it's our own government, but we are starting our own investigation. We are doing it. What moral ground can K. Kavita or Manish Sisodia take?
Karnataka, an MLA's son is caught with 8 crores. They want to do an investigation with Lokayukta. Now in Telangana, we red-handed
Welcome back, viewers. We're straight away cutting across to these live images that we are picking up now from the national capital, where K. Kavita in fact is leaving to appear before the Enforcement Directorate, since she had been summoned on March 9th to appear today, that is on March 11th. And this is of course in relation to the liquor scam case, and there were several names as well that had come to light, and the links of and the meetings that had also taken place is something that is going to be questioned. All of these links of K. Kavita to the liquor scam case is going to be under the lens, and perhaps will also be questioned to K. Kavita as well when she arrives at the Enforcement Directorate office. We had seen how there were statements that were made by KCR as well, who had stated that ED may take Kavita into custody after she appears before the agency to record her statement. And now we are of course looking at K. Kavita leaving from her residence and will be arriving at the Enforcement Directorate soon. Let me also bring in my colleague Harsha, who's on the ground. She's right there at the spot where K. Kavita is right now. Harsha, if you can hear me, tell us more about what you're seeing around you. We see that a lot of BRS supporters as well crowding there and walking along with K. Kavita as well. And what can we expect in terms of this statement that will be recorded of K. Kavita at the Enforcement Directorate, Harsha?
See that the entire day for K. Kavita is going to be very hectic and very difficult as well, because according to sources what we are learning is that K. Kavita will also be made to sit face to face with few who have been arrested by ED, be it Arun Ramchandran Pillai. We are getting to know that Arun Pillai, the Hyderabad based businessman, could be made to sit in front of K. Kavita while the questioning the ED has to done regarding the daily liquor excise policy. While we show you the visuals, as right now I'm outside Enforcement Directorate office, but right now here also there's a huge security personnel who have been beefed up ahead of what is being seen outside the residence of K. Kavita, as a massive crowd supporters of BRS of K. Kavita could be seen outside and inside her residence while she leaves for the ED office. And let me tell you, the distance from Tughlaq Road to Enforcement Directorate is just 15 minutes. That means in the span of 15 minutes K. Kavita would be reaching here at Enforcement Directorate. But a massive support of the supporters and Karyakartas of BRS and K. Kavita were lined up outside the residence of K. Kavita, chanting sloganeering in favor of Kavita. Now also, as you see, that the security personnel, the CRPF, the para forces who have been deployed outside Enforcement Directorate office, as K. Kavita could reach any time here, as the day is very important because Enforcement Directorate has to question K. Kavita. Now we are giving you the visuals on your screen. Visuals, K. Kavita has reached ED office. As you see, the the vehicle of Delhi police could be seen, and behind that SUV which you are seeing on your screen is the SUV in which K. Kavita is there. She has reached just now to the Enforcement Directorate, and as she goes inside soon, the questioning by Enforcement Directorate will take place with K. Kavita. And here also the massive vehicles, the crowd, the supporters of K. Kavita and BRS could be seen. CRPF, para forces and Delhi police officials trying to control the crowd over here, but here also the supporters of Kavita have reached outside Enforcement Directorate because this entire questioning has to be done around the Delhi liquor excise scam. The mediators, the people who were involved, and as the kickbacks was given to the Aam Aadmi Party government officials in the framing of the entire Delhi new liquor excise policy. On your screen, visuals on your screen, what we are showing you of K. Kavita as she has reached Enforcement Directorate, and lot of hustle could be seen outside Enforcement Directorate as BRS supporters and crowds from K. Kavita residents to ED have all come here. Sir, आप लोग सब अपना सपोर्ट दर्ज कराने आए हैं यहाँ पे Enforcement Directorate K. Kavita जी के लिए. So the crowd has already reached. We are trying to speak to some of the supporters because almost 20 to 25 supporters have already reached outside Enforcement Directorate also as a very important day, and crucial day for K. Kavita, because the questioning will be done in connection with the Delhi liquor excise policy. K. Kavita has already stated that this is the tactics of intimidation which centre is using ahead of the elections in Telangana. It is being done on the behest of centre. We are also seeing attacks which are being made from the side of Asaduddin Owaisi and Aam Aadmi Party regarding the questioning with K. Kavita. But the full support from BRS Karyakartas, from the residents of K. Kavita to the Enforcement Directors could clearly be seen. And the role of the entire mediators, how they were involved in representing the South lobby, which consisted of Sarath Reddy, Magunta Reddy, Raghav Reddy, K. Kavita, and they were being represented by Arun Pillai, Abhishek Boinpulli and Bucci Babu, the auditor of K. Kavita, who was earlier arrested by CBI in connection with this liquor excise policy only. Let me also give you a sense of the agency. The CBI has already questioned K. Kavita last year, December. And after that, this is the Enforcement Directorate who is going to question K. Kavita in connection with this entire Delhi liquor excise policy, because the ED, when they arrested Amit Arora, Dinesh and Arun Pillai, and in the entire interrogation, ED got to know that how K. Kavita was important part of the South cartel and how she was linked with the kickbacks which were given to the Aam Aadmi Party officials and bureaucrats. Right now, showing you the visuals, as many Karyakartas have reached here. We'll try to speak to few of the Karyakartas of BRS as they all have gathered here outside Enforcement Directorate. Sir, आप लोग क्या कहना चाहेंगे कि कविता के रेसिडेंस से यहाँ तक कार्यकर्ताओं को हुजूम लगाए? What do you have to say about this ED questioning?
वो हमारा राष्ट्र का नेता है, वो कविता जी तेलंगाना के लिए फाइट कर रहे हैं. उन्होंने तेलंगाना के लिए फाइट कर रहे हैं, देश विदेश में भी तेलंगाना के लिए जागृत कर रहे हैं. हमारा नेता के ऊपर केस हो गए तो कैसे भी आते हैं ना तेलंगाना वाले. तेलंगाना के बोले तो तेलंगाना मूवमेंट ही बहुत बड़ा मूवमेंट है. वो मूवमेंट में मेन रोल कविता जी का है.
आप कह रहे हैं मूवमेंट में तो मेन रोल है, लेकिन कहा जा रहा है कि जो दिल्ली लिकर एक्साइज पॉलिसी है उसमें भी जो तमाम खामियां हैं, जो रिश्वत दी गई, वो उसमें भी उनका रोल है.
ये पूरा सरासर गलत है. ये आरोपन है. ये तो कविता जी का जो उन्नति की देखे आज ये बीजेपी पार्टी वाले रो रहे हैं. बीजेपी पार्टी चिक्कड़ में डाले, कुछ भी नहीं होएगा. ये हमारा कविता जी ये बड़े से डायमंड बन के फिर आएगा. एकदम हम क्लीन चिट लेकर आएगा. हमसे कोई नहीं. ये बेस्ट पार्लियामेंट्री मेंबर भी कर चुके हैं और आम आदमियों की लीडर है.
So these are the BRS Karyakartas in solitary in support of their leader K. Kavita, who have reached here outside.
Harsha, I request you to stay on with us. You're getting us various voices of the BRS members as well, Harsha. Stay on with us. Let me also bring in our senior editor, Shravan Sen. Shravan, tell us more about the questioning that will be done, the statement of K. Kavita that will be recorded by the Enforcement Directorate, and for our viewers to understand, if you could put this case into perspective for them.
Well, in fact, this is the first time that top PRS leader K. Kavita is going to appear before the Enforcement Directorate. In the past, she has already been examined by the Central Bureau of Investigation. Remember, her summons comes in at a time when Arun Ramachandra Pillai was arrested by the Enforcement Directorate. And they say that Arun Ramachandra Pillai had actually taken the name of K. Kavita during when his statement was actually recorded. In fact, if you go by the statement that has been given by Pillai, he says that the Benami investments were actually of that of K. Kavita. In fact, the Enforcement Directorate also relies on other statements that are recorded so far, which includes the statement of Samir Mahendru, who was also arrested by the Enforcement Directorate. In fact, Samir Mahendru says that there were multiple meetings that actually took place in Hyderabad, which includes other accused in this case, like that of Abhishek Boinpalli, as well as Arun Ramachandra Pillai, all of them who met at K. Kavita's residence. In fact, they believe that in the company called Indo Spirits, it is Arun Ramachandra Pillai who was representing K. Kavita. In fact, when Indo Spirits was not given the license at the first go, it was K. Kavita who had interacted with Samir Mahendru, asking him what was the exact issue and as to why the license was not given to Indo Spirits to carry out the liquor business in the national capital. Now, these are some of the allegations that have been leveled against K. Kavita. But important to point out here is that in an interview to Republic TV, K. Kavita had made it abundantly clear that she is a political leader and the fact that on a daily basis she meets a number of people. Having said that, she's not distanced herself or she hasn't denied that she does not know Arun Ramachandra Pillai. But importantly, she says that she has no role to play as far as the liquor scam is concerned. She also goes on to say that she has never met the Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, Manish Sisodia. So these are some of the statements that have been made by K. Kavita. Important to see how it actually goes out for the leader who's been in the national capital for the last couple of days, and she basically raised up another issue of the women's reservation bill and says that it is important that key issues are spoken of rather than diversionary tactic that has been employed by the Bharatiya Janata Party.
Right. That being said, Shravan, you did that interview and you were able to ask her those very important questions as well when it comes to her involvement in this entire scam, whether or not there was one. So if you could also speak to us about what her stand had been and how she had also been deflecting a little when it comes to the pointed questions of this liquor scam policy as well. There were several links of the South group as well that were coming to light. If you could put that into perspective, explain that a lot more to our viewers.
Well, in fact, K. Kavita does make a point that statements that have been recorded by the Enforcement Directorate under Section 50 of the PMLA Act, she says they are draconian in nature because anyone can make any claim, and that is going to stand before the scrutiny of the court. And that is the reason why she says that Section 50 essentially should be scrapped or amendments should be made. That's her position when it comes to the statements that have been given by Arun Ramachandra Pillai. But there has been another twist to this entire matter. Arun Ramachandra Pillai has now filed a petition before a court in Hyderabad saying that the statements that have been extracted from him by the Enforcement Directorate was under duress, and he would essentially want the court to reconsider those statements. Now that adds another twist to this entire case, because remember, it is based on Arun Ramachandra Pillai as well as Samir Mahendru's statement that today K. Kavita is being called by the Enforcement Directorate. It is going to be incumbent on the Enforcement Directorate to actually get corroborative evidence in this entire matter, because remember, it is against what Arun Ramachandra Pillai has to say. Whether at all there is more evidence or not, that is something that the Enforcement Directorate perhaps when time comes is also going to put out more details of. But as of now, it is largely to do with the multiple meetings that have essentially taken place and the fact that whether at all the South group, which the Enforcement Directorate says that was also represented by K. Kavita, had given an advance payment or a commission of about 100 crore rupees to the Aam Aadmi Party for the favorable excise policy.
Right. All right. Shravan Sen, our senior editor, thank you so much for joining us and helping us understand what we can also expect when it comes to the statement that will be recorded of K. Kavita. Of course, we are standing by on the ground as well, viewers, as we track how K. Kavita has reached the Enforcement Directorate office, and her statement will be recorded as well. Her links to this entire scandal will also be asked to her as well, and all of those summons that had been sent to her, the fresh summons that had been issued to her on 9th March, and now, of course, she is appearing before the Enforcement Directorate in the national capital. And at this point, let me also go once again back on the ground where Harsha is reporting from. Harsha, please tell us more about what's happening now. We saw a lot of BRS supporters also there. And you were getting us various voices when it comes to K. Kavita's involvement. And we have seen a lot of political hyperbole around this as well, Harsha. We had seen KCR also stating that it is a possibility that K. Kavita might be taken into custody by the Enforcement Directorate after her statement is recorded. All of these statements that were made by KCR, put that into perspective for us and help us understand what's happening on the ground right now, Harsha.
See, Priyanka, let me give you a sense of the ground from where I'm reporting right now. The supporters of BRS and K. Kavita are still here outside ED office, but K. Kavita has gone inside, and we are expecting that the questioning and the interrogation with K. Kavita will start in some time. We're expecting it to start in another 10 to 15 minutes because it's been already 10 minutes since K. Kavita has entered the Enforcement Directorate office, and the massive crowd from K. Kavita residents to this point from where I'm reporting Enforcement Directorate could be seen, because it's a very crucial day for K. Kavita, as she will be grilled, she'll be asked certain questions from the Enforcement Directorate regarding her involvement with the South lobby and about the involvement regarding giving the kickbacks to the Aam Aadmi Party officials, the mediators, Dinesh and Vijay Nair, who were the mediators between South cartel lobby and between the Aam Aadmi Party officials who were involved in the framing of the entire Delhi liquor policy, and how that compensation, how that commission, sorry Priyanka, the commission which was fixed from 6% to 12%, and the margin 65% which was set in the company of Samir Mohendru into spirits, how the entire South lobby was involved in this. And let me also give you a sense of, Priyanka, that earlier also she was questioned by CBI. Just one question, sir, just one question, because you all are standing since morning in support of your leader. What do you think about this entire interrogation and K. Kavita being here inside the ED office?
हम तो सोच रहे हैं अभी तो ये पूरा अननेसेसरी कमेंट्स है. अभी हमारा लीडर अंदर गया ना, पीछे आराम से कुछ भी वो सीबीआई ईडी कोई भी क्वेश्चन करने को हम तैयार है. हम पीछे आने वाला वाइट पेपर का जैसे बाहर आते, हम देश जनता के लिए हम क्या है दिखाने को ये मौका मिला. हम हमारा ऊपर लगाए ना वो पूरा हम दिखाने को.
ऑफ के कविता as well. And those were the exclusive visuals of K. Kavita inside of the Enforcement Directorate office.
No.
Actually, Priyanka, now we were showing you the exclusive pictures which came from inside. Now K. Kavita is inside Enforcement Directorate, but what the Karyakartas were sharing with us was that the Karyakartas, the BRS, the supporters of K. Kavita are with K. Kavita because they know that their leader is innocent. She's being framed, and K. Kavita has already been saying that there's a tactics of intimidation. We are joined by our editor Shravan Sen. Shravan sir, already she is inside. She has gone inside. By what time the interrogation will start?
Well, it should be there is no confirmation right now from the Enforcement Directorate whether it's going to immediately begin. The process takes its own time, and there are certain techniques that the Enforcement Directorate would also employ. There are times to basically also test whether the person, would actually go through this entire process of being asked to wait for some time. Now, all that is part of a process, but having said that, it's very unlikely that it's going to get over anytime soon. It's important to see whether it all she's going to be given some sort of a break, because if you remember in the case of in the National Herald case, Sonia Gandhi was actually given a break in between for a recess. But as far as that's going to happen or not in this case, we do not know. It's very unlikely that there would be any information that's going to be provided by the Enforcement Directorate at this point in time. But we do understand by speaking to some of our sources that the reason why they're essentially calling in right now is because they do have enough evidence, and that evidence is in the form of certain statements that have been recorded, and key statements as the Enforcement Director would like us to believe, and that is Arun Ramachandra Pillai's statement that has been given under Section 50 of the PMLA Act. You also have Sabir Mahindru's statement that has been given. Now, big takeaways I would say from these statements are the fact that it is about whether at all she was aware of what was really happening, and Arun Ramachandra Pillai, who was representing the South Group or was part of the South Group, because it is the South Group that the Enforcement Directorate believes was essentially played a very important role in drafting, or one would say twisting, the entire excise policy. And where lies the problem in the excise policy? The problem here is that if you take a look at the previous excise policy, which had about a 5% profit margin, the profit margin was bumped up to about 12%, which would essentially mean that you have about 6% the difference. Now the difference in the profit margin, the Enforcement Directorate, the Central Bureau of Investigation, both suspect was the key kickback element of about 5 to 6%. Now what has also happened here is that the expert committee, which was basically formed by the Chief Minister then to basically look into this entire excise policy, to see that there is no monopoly, there's no cartelization that takes place, an expert committee was formed. That expert committee in fact gave a report in that a government entity was supposed to largely play a role and not a private entity, which is exactly something that the Kejriwal government basically discarded it. There was a GOM that was constituted which included Manish Sisodia, Satyendra Jain as well as Kailash Gehlot. They were the ones who came up with the policy itself. Now what is important to point out here is that there were no comments that were taken from the public. It was essentially a hogwash. What essentially happened was that this draft policy was done in a manner which effectively helped the certain lobby.
We have to slip in on the side of the break. We'll give you more updates regarding the K. Kavita interrogation in the ED office. Stay tuned with us.
कहीं ना कहीं मार्शल आर्ट्स लड़ाई झगड़े खून खराबे से ज्यादा आई थिंक इट्स अबाउट हार्मनी आल्सो.
सर इट्स अ पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम.
पूरा मार्शल आर्ट्स
बिल्कुल.
जी.
आपकी फौज में भी यही है. डिसिप्लिन, माइंड, बॉडी एंड स्पिरिट इज इन कमांड ऑफ यू. आपके पास गन है बट आप किसी सिविलियन को गुस्सा आते गोली तो नहीं मार देते ना. यू हैव टू कंट्रोल दैट. दैट कंट्रोल कम्स फ्रॉम द माइंड एंड फ्रॉम द ट्रेनिंग. सो दैट जो आर्मी में हम बोलते हैं फोर्स कंटिन्यूम, किस फोर्स पे कितना फोर्स देना है, ये मेंटल कंट्रोल ट्रेनिंग से आता है, करेक्ट ट्रेनिंग से.
I see there are two pictures that have been doing the rounds, and you are seen in that picture along with Arun Ramachandra Pillai and Abhishek Bonpal. Both of them happen to be accused in that case. You are not an accused. Do you know Mr. Pillai and Mr. Bonpal?
A few of them I know, I might have known. Point here is, how are these few people that I know have been treated by ED? There are ED excesses today, there are IT excesses today, there are CBI excesses today happening in this country on the behest of a political party in power.
ये शाओलिन का मामला, ये मार्शल आर्ट्स का, वेदर इट्स कुंग फू, वेदर इट्स अदर मार्शल आर्ट्स दैट यू हैव लर्नड सो मेनी. शाओलिन कितना टफ है
सर? बहुत टफ था. वहाँ 6 दिन 7 घंटा हर रोज. हमारा पहला एक्सरसाइज होता था 1000 मीटर का पहाड़ है, उसको हमको भागना पड़ता था 20 मिनट में, एंड लाइक अ डॉग ऑन हैंड एंड फीट वी हैड टू क्रॉल बैक द हिल. देन वी हैड टू बी इन अ स्क्वाट पोजीशन फॉर एटलीस्ट 1 hour और हमारी टांगें ऐसे हिल रही होती थी एंड माई ईच एंड एवरी पार्ट ऑफ माई बॉडी वॉज पेनिंग, इट वॉज क्राइंग, मसल्स वॉज सोर। मतलब उस वक्त मैं कॉम्बी फ्रेम होती थी, कॉम्बी फ्रेम ले लेके ट्रेनिंग करता था मैं।
Bharatiya Janata Party is making it very clear that look, it's our own government, but we are starting our own investigation. We are doing it. What moral ground can K. Kavita or Manish Sisodia take?
Karnataka, an MLS son is caught with 8 crores. They want to do an investigation with Lokayukta. Now in Telangana, we red-handedly caught agents of Bharatiya Janata Party trying to purchase our MLS. And CBI comes over, takes over the entire investigation and says states cannot do it, we will do it. Now in Karnataka, if Lokayukta can do it, why in Telangana SIT cannot do it?
आप इंडिया आते हैं एंड देन यू स्टार्ट स्पेशल फोर्सेस, NSG, गरुड़, मार्कोस। किस तरीके से ये सफर शुरू हुआ स्पेशल फोर्सेस को ट्रेन करने?
कर्नल साहब, तो ही वॉज एट दैट टाइम CEO of 6AR और पहली अपॉर्चुनिटी उन्होंने मुझे दी।
अच्छा।
टू ट्रेन हिज रेजिमेंट एंड ही आस्क्ड मी कि आप इनको नाइफ टू नाइफ कॉम्बैट में खुकरी ट्रेन करो। जब मैंने ADG इन्फेंट्री के सामने वो डेमो दिया और उनको वो बहुत अलग लिखा, एज लॉन्ग एज आवर सोल्जर्स आर सेफ, दे गेट द बेस्ट, आई हैव नो प्रॉब्लम।
Focusing about the future of your party, 21 years after it was founded, now you've taken the national foray. The BRS has come into the picture. You're looking at stitching an alliance, and which becomes far more difficult. We've seen in multiple states there isn't any coordination between the opposition parties. So how exactly are you really looking at?
Our goal right now for 2024 is to dislodge the current Bharatiya Janata Party government at the center. For that goal, whoever has a similar line of thinking, we will work with them. KCR Garu had gone to meet Mamta Di, then he has gone to meet Uddhav Thackeray ji, Sharad Pawar ji. Every single politician in this country, Honorable KCR Garu has approached to make sure there is a understanding.
कहीं ना कहीं मार्शल आर्ट्स लड़ाई झगड़े खून खराबे से ज्यादा आई थिंक इट्स अबाउट हार्मनी ऑल्सो।
सर, इट्स अ पर्सनैलिटी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम।
पूरा मार्शल आर्ट्स,
बिल्कुल।
You're watching live and breaking with Republic TV as we are giving you all the breaking updates straight from the ED office, where K. Kavita joins the interrogation in connection with the Delhi liquor excise policy and the entire scam in this policy. You're watching Republic and we are giving you all updates as the massive supporters in the crowd has started gathering outside ED office now, as they were already outside the residence of K. Kavita. Stay tuned with us. We'll be right back after a short break. And it's time to slip into a short break. On the other side, we'll tell you more about the interrogation, about the questioning which K. Kavita has joined in front of ED and her connection and links with the Delhi excise policy. Stay tuned with us.
Focusing about the future of your party, 21 years after it was founded, now you've taken the national foray. The BRS has come into the picture. You're looking at stitching an alliance, and which becomes far more difficult. We've seen in multiple states there isn't any coordination between the opposition parties. So how exactly are you really looking at?
Our goal right now for 2024 is to dislodge the current Bharatiya Janata Party government at the center. For that goal, whoever has a similar line of thinking, we will work with them. KCR Garu had gone to meet Mamta Di, then he has gone to meet Uddhav Thackeray ji, Sharad Pawar ji. Every single politician in this country, Honorable KCR Garu has approached to make sure there is a understanding.
कहीं ना कहीं मार्शल आर्ट्स लड़ाई झगड़े खून खराबे से ज्यादा आई थिंक इट्स अबाउट हार्मनी ऑल्सो।
सर, इट्स अ पर्सनैलिटी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम।
पूरा मार्शल आर्ट्स,
बिल्कुल।
जी।
आपकी फौज में भी यही है, डिसिप्लिन, माइंड, बॉडी एंड स्पिरिट इज इन कमांड ऑफ यू। आपके पास गन है, बट आप किसी सिविलियन को गुस्सा आते गोली तो नहीं मार देते ना। यू हैव टू कंट्रोल दैट कंट्रोल कम्स फ्रॉम द माइंड एंड फ्रॉम द ट्रेनिंग। सो दैट जो आर्मी में हम बोलते हैं फोर्स कंटिन्यूम, किस फोर्स पे कितना फोर्स देना है, ये मेंटल कंट्रोल ट्रेनिंग से आता है, करेक्ट ट्रेनिंग से।
see there are two pictures that have been doing the rounds, and you are seen in that picture along with Arun Ramachandra Pillai and Abhishek Bonpally. Both of them happen to be accused in that case. You are not an accused. Do you know Mr. Pillai and Mr. Bonpally?
A few of them I know, I might have known. Point here is, how are these few people that I know have been treated by ED? There are ED excesses today, there are IT excesses today, there are CBI excesses today happening in this country on the behest of a political party in power.
ये शाओलिन का मामला, ये मार्शल आर्ट्स का, whether it's kung fu, whether it's other martial arts that you've learned so many. शाओलिन कितना टफ था?
सर बहुत टफ था। वहाँ 6 दिन 7 घंटा हर रोज हमारा पहला एक्सरसाइज होता था। 1000 मीटर का पहाड़ है, उसको हमको भागना पड़ता था 20 मिनट में, एंड लाइक अ डॉग ऑन हैंड एंड फीट वी हैड टू क्रॉल बैक द हिल, देन वी हैड टू बी इन अ स्क्वाट पोजीशन फॉर एटलीस्ट 1 आवर, और हमारी टांगें ऐसी हिल रही होती थी, एंड my each and every part of my body was paining, it was crying, muscles was sore। मतलब उस वक्त मैं कॉम्बी फ्रेम होती थी, कॉम्बी फ्रेम ले लेके ट्रेनिंग करता था मैं।
Bharatiya Janata Party is making it very clear that look, it's our own government, but we are starting our own investigation. We are doing it. What moral ground can K. Kavita or Manish Sisodia take?
Karnataka, an MLA's son is caught with 8 crores. They want to do an investigation with Lokayukta. Now in Telangana, we red-handedly caught agents of Bharatiya Janata Party trying to purchase our MLAs. And CBI comes over, takes over the entire investigation and says states cannot do it, we will do it. Now in Karnataka, if Lokayukta can do it, why in Telangana SIT cannot do it?
आप इंडिया आते हैं एंड देन यू स्टार्ट स्पेशल फोर्सेस, NSG, गरुड़, मार्कोस। किस तरीके से ये सफर शुरू हुआ स्पेशल फोर्सेस को ट्रेन करने?
कर्नल साहब, तो ही वाज एट दैट टाइम CEO of 6AR, और पहली अपॉर्चुनिटी उन्होंने मुझे दी।
अच्छा।
टू ट्रेन हिज रेजिमेंट, एंड ही आस्क्ड मी कि आप इनको नाइफ टू नाइफ कॉम्बैट में खुकरी ट्रेन करो। जब मैंने ADG इन्फेंट्री के सामने वो डेमो दिया और उनको वो बहुत अलग लिखा, एज लॉन्ग एज आवर सोल्जर्स आर सेफ, दे गेट द बेस्ट, आई हैव नो प्रॉब्लम।
K. Kavita joins ED investigation in connection with Liquor Gate. BRS workers protest at ED office. Full focus on South Group link and alleged cartelization in connection with Delhi excise policy scam. Bihar Deputy Chief Minister summoned by CBI in connection with Land for Jobs scam.
भावुक हैं, उनकी मानसिक स्थिति क्या होगी, क्या उन पर बीती होगी, तो बड़ी संवेदनशीलता से उनकी बातों को हमने सुनना जाना चाहिए था। तो उनको बैठकर समझाने का काम अगर किया गया होता, मैं समझता हूँ एक बेहतर तरीके से मामले को निपटाया जा सकता था।
And Sachin Pilot questions Rajasthan Chief Minister Gehlot for mistreatment of Pulwama martyrs' widows. Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation seizes assets of Silicon Valley Bank as depositors pull out cash. Hello and welcome. You're watching Live and Breaking on Republic. I'm Rukma with you. And news that's breaking, the top story that we're focusing on at this hour. The CBI has summoned Bihar Deputy Chief Minister Tejaswi Yadav now to appear for questioning. This is in connection with the alleged land for jobs scam. Tejaswi was earlier called for questioning on the 4th of March, but he did not appear. He failed to appear before the CBI sleuths, following which a fresh date was given for Saturday. Now, this is a fresh summons that has been issued in the land for jobs scam, and Tejaswi Yadav has been summoned in it. The land for jobs scam dates back to 2004 and 2009. Shravan Sen joining us, our senior editor on this broadcast. Shravan, it's over to you to take our viewers for more perspective on this. Tejaswi Yadav, just a young boy when the charge sheet was filed, when the scam first came to light. But right now he's clearly in the dock despite all his cries of, political vendetta and victimization.
Well, in fact, this comes after the Central Bureau of Investigation had carried out multiple searches. One search was carried out in Gurugram, where they suspected that the proceeds of crime generated from this particular scam was diverted into an under-construction mall. And they believe that this was at the behest of the Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar, Tejaswi Yadav. An allegation that has been completely refuted by Tejaswi. He says that there is absolutely no link whatsoever with this particular under-construction mall. And more importantly, he says that he was, as you rightly pointed out, he was a child when he was in the land, when the land for jobs scam actually took place, and there is no role that he has essentially played. But the CBI, on the contrary, essentially believes that the money that was generated from this particular scam was actually diverted to various family members of Lalu Prasad Yadav. Now, what exactly is the land for jobs scam? When Union Minister Lalu Prasad Yadav was at the helm of affairs of the Railway Ministry, at that point in time, remember, several of these jobs were given within the department to undeserving candidates in lieu of land and also cash that was generated at that point in time. In fact, it turns out that the CBI has basically come across multiple land parcels in the state of Bihar, which have been directly linked to family members of Lalu Prasad Yadav. They were originally it belonged to some of those candidates who finally landed up a job in the railway department. In fact, remember, a private secretary of Lalu Prasad Yadav was also picked up by the Central Bureau of Investigation. In his statement, he has basically admitted that undeserving candidates were actually given the jobs within the department.
Shravan, is this the first time that Tejaswi has been summoned? Is this the first time that if he does go in for questioning, will this be the first time in this case?
Well, in fact, he was summoned on 4th of February.
So Tejaswi Yadav summoned.
Well, in fact, this was not the first time that Tejaswi Yadav was summoned. In fact, on 4th of February, he was first sent out the summons in the land for job scam, which he did not honor. And thereafter, he has once again been summoned by the Central Bureau of Investigation. So far, there has been no communication from his side whether at all he's going to respond or appear before the central agency, or he's going to seek for more time. We are waiting for an official confirmation to come in from the agency as well as from Tejaswi Yadav, whether at all he is going to finally appear before the agency. The agency maintains that they have fresh evidence against the Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar, and they are hoping that he is going to make himself available for further questioning.
Many thanks, Shravan, for joining us there and for bringing us up to speed with all those details. Moving on now to other top stories. Conman Sukesh Chandrasekhar writes to Delhi LG seeking VK Saxena, seeking his intervention on alleged false news being spread by the Aam Aadmi Party. Sukesh has said, and I quote, Manish Sisodia, everyone should know, is lodged now in Jail 1 Ward 9, which is a VVIP ward in Tihar, where till date only high-profile VVIP persons have been lodged. After Delhi police launched investigation into the molestation video of a Japanese woman that went viral amid Holi celebrations, DCW Chief Swati Maliwal has tweeted, and I quote, "My blood is boiling every time I watch this video. I will not spare any of them, no matter what happens. We will make sure at least one of these ruffians will end up behind bars." Meanwhile, Delhi police have said they are probing into the video of the harassment of a Japanese woman that went viral amid Holi celebrations. They further say that 3 of the boys, including one juvenile, have been apprehended. Delhi police say they are waiting for a detailed post-mortem report to know the exact cause of the death of actor Satish Kaushik. A crime team of district police visited the farmhouse in southwest Delhi, where a party was apparently organized and recovered some medicines, they say. Gujarat Assembly on Friday passed a resolution requesting the centre to take strict action against the BBC for tarnishing the image of Prime Minister Narendra Modi with its documentary on the 2002 Godhra riots. The Gujarat Home Minister Harsh Sanghvi said in the Assembly that the documentary is against Indian citizens. UP Chief Minister has approved a proposal for the development of world-class infrastructure projects worth 465 crore rupees now in anticipation of a significant increase in the number of tourists visiting Ayodhya. The state cabinet led by CM Yogi approved the proposal. Ahead of the assembly elections, Karnataka Housing Minister V. Somana has hinted at leaving the BJP after his name was not included in the party's election management committee. The elections to the 224-member Karnataka Assembly are stated to be held this year. Police seized 1,300 kg of heroin from a vehicle in Karimganj along the Assam-Mizoram border. 100 soap cases containing drugs from the secret chambers of a vehicle were recovered. 3 people apprehended. A case under NDPS Act registered. Two government employees caught red-handed accepting bribes by a team of the Directorate of Vigilance and Anti-Corruption in Assam. Case registered in ACB police station on March 10th under Section 120B IPC 7A of Prevention of Corruption Act 1988. Necessary legal action is underway. KPCC working President R. Dhruvanarayan, 62, passed away in Mysuru this morning. Dhruvanarayan, a former MP representing Chamarajnagar Lok Sabha constituency, suffered a cardiac arrest and passed away at his residence in Mysuru. Dhruvanarayan was among the aspirants in the Congress party for a ticket to the Nanjangud Assembly constituency in Mysuru in the upcoming elections. Moving on, Delhi police are awaiting, they say, a post-mortem report on actor-director Satish Kaushik's death to confirm the cause of his passing away. Police have not found anything suspicious so far. A report.
On March 9th, Satish Kaushik, who was at a friend's home in Delhi, complained of uneasiness and passed away following a heart attack. Delhi police say they are waiting for the detailed post-mortem report to know the exact cause of death. According to sources, a crime team of the district police also visited the farmhouse in southwest Delhi where the party was organized and recovered some medicines. Sources further added that the party was organized at the farmhouse of an industrialist who was wanted in a case and the police is going through the guest list. Meanwhile, the police officers are in touch with those who took Satish Kaushik to the hospital. Satish breathed his last in the wee hours of March 9. His body was taken to Deen Dayal Upadhyay Hospital in Delhi for the post-mortem. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
And coming up in other news that we're tracking, Kavita being questioned by the ED. in connection with Liquorgate. Also, poster war in Hyderabad ahead of Kavita's questioning by the Enforcement Directorate.
आप इंडिया आते हैं एंड देन यू स्टार्ट स्पेशल फोर्सेस, एनएसजी, गरुड़, मार्कोस। किस तरीके से ये सफर शुरू हुआ स्पेशल फोर्सेस को ट्रेन करने?
कर्नल साहब, तो ही वाज एट दैट टाइम CEO of 6AR और पहली अपॉर्चुनिटी उन्होंने मुझे दी।
अच्छा।
टू ट्रेन हिज रेजिमेंट एंड ही आस्क्ड मी कि आप उनको नाइफ टू नाइफ कॉम्बैट में खुकरी ट्रेन करो। जब मैंने ADG इन्फेंट्री के सामने वो डेमो दिया और उनको वो बहुत अलग लिखा, एज लॉन्ग एज आवर सोल्जर्स आर सेफ, दे गेट द बेस्ट, आई हैव नो प्रॉब्लम।
Focusing about the future of your party, 21 years after it was founded, now you've taken the national foray. The BRS has come into the picture. You're looking at stitching an alliance, and which becomes far more difficult. We've seen in multiple states there isn't any coordination between the opposition parties. So how exactly are you really looking at?
Our goal right now for 2024 is to dislodge the current Bharatiya Janata Party government at the center. For that goal, whoever has a similar line of thinking, we will work with them. KCR Garu had gone to meet Mamta Di, then he has gone to meet Uddhav Thackeray ji, Sharad Pawar ji. Every single politician in this country, Honorable KCR Garu has approached to make sure there is a understanding.
कहीं ना कहीं मार्शल आर्ट्स लड़ाई झगड़े खून खराबे से ज्यादा आई थिंक इट्स अबाउट हार्मनी ऑल्सो।
सर, इट्स अ पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम।
पूरा मार्शल आर्ट्स
बिल्कुल।
जी।
आपकी फौज में भी यही है, डिसिप्लिन, माइंड, बॉडी एंड स्पिरिट इज इन कमांड ऑफ यू। आपके पास गन है बट आप किसी सिविलियन को गुस्सा आते गोली तो नहीं मार देते ना। यू हैव टू कंट्रोल दैट कंट्रोल कम्स फ्रॉम द माइंड एंड फ्रॉम द ट्रेनिंग। सो दैट जो आर्मी में हम बोलते हैं फोर्स कंटिन्यूम, किस फोर्स पे कितना फोर्स देना है, ये मेंटल कंट्रोल ट्रेनिंग से आता है, करेक्ट ट्रेनिंग से।
I see there are two pictures that have been doing the rounds, and you are seen in that picture along with Arun Ramachandra Pillai and Abhishek Bonpally. Both of them happen to be accused in that case. You are not an accused. Do you know Mr. Pillai and Mr. Bonpally?
A few of them I know, I might have known. Point here is, how are these few people that I know have been treated by ED? There are ED excesses today, there are IT excesses today, there are CBI excesses today happening in this country on the behest of a political party in power.
ये शाओलिन का मामला, ये मार्शल आर्ट्स का, वेदर इट्स कुंग फू, वेदर इट्स अदर मार्शल आर्ट्स दैट यू हैव लर्नड सो मेनी, शाओलिन कितना टफ था?
सर बहुत टफ था। वहाँ 6 दिन 7 घंटा हर रोज। हमारा पहला एक्सरसाइज होता था, 1000 मीटर का पहाड़ है, उसको हमको भागना पड़ता था 20 मिनट में, एंड लाइक अ डॉग ऑन हैंड एंड फीट वी हैड टू क्रॉल बैक द हिल, देन वी हैड टू बी इन अ स्क्वाट पोजीशन फॉर एटलीस्ट 1 आवर, और हमारी टांगें ऐसी हिल रही होती थी, एंड my each and every part of my body was paining, it was crying, muscles were sore। मतलब उस वक्त मैं कॉम्बी फ्रेम होती थी, कॉम्बी फ्रेम ले लेके ट्रेनिंग करता था मैं।
Bharatiya Janata Party is making it very clear that look, it's our own government, but we are starting our own investigation. We are doing. Focusing about the future of your party, 21 years after it was founded, now you've taken the national foray. The BRS has come into the picture. You're looking at stitching an alliance, and which becomes far more difficult. We've seen in multiple states there isn't any coordination between the opposition parties. So how exactly are you really looking at?
Our goal right now for 2024 is to dislodge the current Bharatiya Janata Party government at the center. For that goal, whoever has a similar line of thinking, we will work with them. KCR Garu had gone to meet Mamta Di, then he has gone to meet Uddhav Thackeray ji, Sharad Pawar ji. Every single politician in this country, Honorable KCR Garu has approached to make sure there is a understanding.
Welcome back. Well, the BJP is protesting again in Rajasthan against Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot government's mistreatment of the widows of Pulwama martyrs. The Veer Naris who were demanding compensation from the state government are still missing after their detention on Friday early morning. Here's more. Piyush Ori joining me now for the latest on this. Piyush, are there any leads? What are your sources telling you about the kind of action being taken by the government as far as the widows who have gone missing are concerned?
So yes, Rukma, the action that has been taken by the Rajasthan government on the widows is unexplainable. It is something which cannot be explained of why actually the Rajasthan government took such a hard stance on the widows of the Pulwama martyrs who laid down their life for the service of the nation. Now, what we have been told is that they have been, these widows whose safety is the utmost priority, have been kept in their villages, namely in Bharatpur, Rajasthan and Kota in undisclosed locations, because the Rajasthan government wants to make sure that they do not want to, increase the kind of angst which this entire incident has happened. What I'll do is I'll make you have a word with some of the people over here at the BJP protest, because now this entire incident has also taken a political current, because the BJP also wants to make sure that it protests and brings this entire issue in the national eye. So let's just have a word with the people over here and make you have a sense of the mood. Ma'am, आप एक खुद वीरांगना है, आप इसके बारे में क्या कहना चाहती है जो वीरांगनाओं के साथ हो रहा है?
जो वीरांगनाओं के साथ हुआ है वो बहुत ही अमर्यादित और गलत व्यवहार हुआ है, और बड़े दुख की बात है कि वीरांगनाएं अपने हक के लिए सड़कों के ऊपर धरने के लिए बैठी हैं, और उन मांगों के लिए जो खुद वो जाके वहाँ जाके घोषणा करते हैं कि ये मांगे ये दिया जाएगा, ये पैकेज है, और उन मांगों को मानने के लिए मनाने के लिए वीरांगनाएं धरने के ऊपर आई हैं। ये बड़े दुख की बात।
आपके पति भी आर्मी में थे, वो 2001 में उन्होंने शहीद प्राप्त की। सर, पहले तो मैं चाहूँगा कि आप पूरे देश को बताएं कि आपके पति का नाम क्या था, आपके वीर पति का नाम क्या था, और आपकी भी ऐसी कुछ मांगे हैं जो राजस्थान सरकार ने पूरी नहीं की। तो मैं चाहता हूँ कि आप अपनी भी व्यथा बताइए ताकि लोगों को पता चले कि ऐसी क्या कारण है कि जो वीरांगनाएं हैं उनकी बहुत सारी मांगे पूरी नहीं कर पाती राजस्थान सरकार।
मेरा नाम वीरांगना कविता सामोता है। मेरे पति आर्मी में 6 जाट यूनिट में थे और वॉलीबॉल के नेशनल इंटरनेशनल प्लेयर थे। ऑपरेशन राइनो के तहत मेरे पति शहीद होशियार सिंह सामोता वीर गति को प्राप्त हो गए थे 2001 में, और तब से मैं ही नहीं हर वीरांगना को किसी न किसी रूप में परेशानी का सामना करना पड़ रहा है। कहीं स्कूल के नामकरण को लेके, कहीं अनुकंपा नियुक्ति को लेके वीरांगनाएं दफ्तरों के चक्कर काटती हैं, घोषणाएं कर देते हैं, लेकिन बाद में संवेदनाएं मर जाती हैं और वो दफ्तरों के चक्कर काटती रहती हैं। हर वीरांगना प्रताड़ित है।
So you can see over here, Rukma, that even for small little things like naming of school on the name of the martyr, it becomes such a complicated process and it gets embroiled in the bureaucratic process, following which often not only these martyrs' wives, which we are seeing right now, who are facing difficulties, but also several other martyr wives in the past have also faced similar difficulties. It is now going to be interesting to see that now, since this entire issue has taken a political color with BJP now holding a massive demonstration, what action is the Ashok Gehlot government going to take finally? Because so far, the action that has been taken by the Gehlot government has got many to question of why it is taking the stand what it has on the martyrdom of the soldiers of CRPF who laid down their lives for the duty of the nation. Back to the studio.
Right, Piyush. Well, many thanks for bringing us up to speed and for sharing that with us. It's time now for a short break. On the other side, in other news that we are tracking here on Republic, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation seized the assets of the Silicon Valley Bank as depositors pull out cash. Li Qiang, close confidant of top leader of China, Xi Jinping, appointed as the country's next premier.
Bharatiya Janata Party is making it very clear that look, it's our own government, but we are starting our own investigation. We are doing it. What moral ground can K. Kavita or Manish Sisodia take?
Karnataka, an MLS son is caught with 8 crores. They want to do an investigation with Lokayukta. Now in Telangana, we red-handedly caught agents of Bharatiya Janata Party trying to purchase our MLS. And CBI comes over, takes over the entire investigation and says states cannot do it, we will do it. Now in Karnataka, if Lokayukta can do it, why in Telangana SIT cannot do it?
आप इंडिया आते हैं एंड देन यू स्टार्ट स्पेशल फोर्सेस, एनएसजी, गरुड़, मार्कोस, किस तरीके से ये सफर शुरू हुआ स्पेशल फोर्सेस को ट्रेन करने?
कर्नल साहब, तो ही वाज एट दैट टाइम CEO of 6AR और पहली अपॉर्चुनिटी उन्होंने मुझे दी, अच्छा, टू ट्रेन हिज रेजिमेंट एंड ही आस्क्ड मी कि आप इनको नाइफ टू नाइफ कॉम्बैट में खुकरी ट्रेन करो. जब मैंने ADG इन्फेंट्री के सामने वो डेमो दिया और उनको वो बहुत अलग लिखा, एज लॉन्ग एज आवर सोल्जर्स आर सेफ, दे गेट द बेस्ट, आई हैव नो प्रॉब्लम.
Focusing about the future of your party, 21 years after it was founded, now you've taken the national foray. The BRS has come into the picture. You're looking at stitching an alliance, and which becomes far more difficult. We've seen in multiple states there isn't any coordination between the opposition parties. So how exactly are you really looking at?
Our goal right now for 2024 is to dislodge the current Bharatiya Janata Party government at the center. For that goal, whoever has a similar line of thinking, we will work with them. KCR Garu had gone to meet Mamta Di, then he has gone to meet Uddhav Thackeray ji, Sharad Pawar ji. Every single politician in this country, Honorable KCR Garu has approached to make sure there is a understanding.
कहीं ना कहीं मार्शल आर्ट्स लड़ाई झगड़े खून खराबे से ज्यादा आई थिंक इट्स अबाउट हार्मनी आल्सो.
सर, इट्स अ पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम.
पूरा मार्शल आर्ट्स,
बिल्कुल. आपकी फौज में भी यही है, डिसिप्लिन, माइंड, बॉडी एंड स्पिरिट इज इन कमांड ऑफ यू. आपके पास गन है, बट आप किसी सिविलियन को गुस्सा आते गोली तो नहीं मार देते ना. यू हैव टू कंट्रोल दैट. दैट कंट्रोल कम्स फ्रॉम द माइंड एंड फ्रॉम द ट्रेनिंग. सो दैट जो आर्मी में हम बोलते हैं फोर्स कंटिन्यूम, किस फोर्स पे कितना फोर्स देना है, ये मेंटल कंट्रोल ट्रेनिंग से आता है, करेक्ट ट्रेनिंग से.
I see there are two pictures that have been doing the rounds, and you are seen in that picture along with Arun Ramachandra Pillai and Abhishek Bonpal. Both of them happen to be accused in that case. You are not an accused. Do you know Mr. Pillai and Mr. Bonpal?
A few of them I know, I might have known. Point here is, how are these few people that I know have been treated by ED? There are ED excesses today, there are IT excesses today, there are CBI excesses today happening in this country on the behest of a political party in power.
ये शाओलिन का मामला, ये मार्शल आर्ट्स का, वेदर इट्स कुंग फू, वेदर इट्स अदर मार्शल आर्ट्स दैट यू हैव लर्नड सो मेनी. शाओलिन कितना टफ था?
सर, बहुत टफ था. वहाँ 6 दिन 7 घंटा हर रोज. हमारा पहला एक्सरसाइज होता था, 1000 मीटर का पहाड़ है, उसको हमको भागना पड़ता था 20 मिनट में, एंड लाइक अ डॉग ऑन हैंड एंड फीट वी हैड टू क्रॉल बैक द हिल. देन वी हैड टू बी इन अ स्क्वाट पोजीशन फॉर एटलीस्ट 1 आवर, और हमारी टांगें ऐसे हिल रही होती थी, एंड my each and every part of my body was paining, it was crying. मसल्स वर सोर, मतलब उस वक्त मैं कॉम्बी फ्रेम होती थी, कॉम्बी फ्रेम ले लेके ट्रेनिंग करता था मैं।
Bharatiya Janata Party is making it very clear that look, it's our own government, but we are starting our own investigation. We are doing it. What moral ground can Kavita or Manish Sisodia take?
Karnataka, an MLS son is caught with 8 crores. They want to do an investigation with Lokayukta. Now in Telangana, we red-handedly caught agents of Bharatiya Janata Party trying to purchase our MLS. And CBI comes over, takes over the entire investigation and says states cannot do it, we will do it. Now in Karnataka, if Lokayukta can do it, why in Telangana SIT cannot do it?
आप इंडिया आते हैं एंड देन यू स्टार्ट स्पेशल फोर्सेस, एनएसजी, गरुड़, मार्कोस। किस तरीके से ये सफर शुरू हुआ स्पेशल फोर्सेस को ट्रेन करने?
कर्नल साहब, तो ही वाज एट दैट टाइम CEO ऑफ 6AR, और पहली अपॉर्चुनिटी उन्होंने मुझे दी।
अच्छा।
टू ट्रेन हिज रेजिमेंट, एंड ही आस्क्ड मी कि आप इनको नाइफ टू नाइफ कॉम्बैट में खुकरी ट्रेन करो। जब मैंने ADG इन्फेंट्री के सामने वो डेमो दिया और उनको वो बहुत अलग लिखा, एज लॉन्ग एज आवर सोल्जर्स आर सेफ, दे गेट द बेस्ट, आई हैव नो प्रॉब्लम।
Focusing about the future of your party, 21 years after it was founded, now you've taken the national foray. The BRS has come into the picture. You're looking at stitching an alliance, and which becomes far more difficult. We've seen in multiple states there isn't any coordination between the opposition parties. So how exactly are you really looking at?
Our goal right now for 2024 is to dislodge the current Bharatiya Janata Party government at the center. For that goal, whoever has a similar line of thinking, we will work with them. KCR Garu had gone to meet Mamta Di, then he has gone to meet Uddhav Thackeray ji, Sharad Pawar ji. Every single politician in this country, Honorable KCR Garu has approached to make sure there is a understanding.
Top stories at 12 p.m. Kavita joins the ED investigation in connection with Liquorgate. BRS workers protest at the ED office. Full focus on South Group link and alleged cartelization in connection with the Delhi excise policy scandal. Bihar Deputy Chief Minister summoned by the CBI in connection with the Land for Jobs scam.
महिला हैं, भावुक हैं, उनकी मानसिक स्थिति क्या होगी, क्या उन पर बीती होगी, तो बड़ी संवेदनशीलता से उनकी बातों को हमने सुनना जाना चाहिए था। तो उनको बैठकर समझाने का काम अगर किया गया होता, मैं समझता हूँ एक बेहतर तरीके से मामले को निपटाया जा सकता था।
Sachin Pilot questions Rajasthan Chief Minister Gehlot for mistreatment of the Pulwama martyrs' widows. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation seized the assets of the Silicon Valley Bank as depositors pull cash. Cutting across to some breaking updates that we are picking up now, viewers, in connection to the fresh summons that had been issued to Tejaswi Yadav by the CBI. Now we are learning that Tejaswi Yadav has sought for more time to appear before the CBI. He had stated that he cannot appear today as he needs to attend to his wife who is in the hospital. Now that is the latest that we are picking up as far as Tejaswi Yadav is concerned. Remember, we had been seeing how trouble was mounting for Tejaswi Yadav since the Enforcement Directorate as well had been carrying out those raids and searches in Bihar, and now of course we have seen since morning a fresh summons that had been issued by the Central Bureau of Investigation as well. And now Tejaswi Yadav, of course, claiming that he will not be able to be present there today since he has to take his wife to the hospital. Let me also bring in our senior editor Shavan Sen as well, who's joining us from the ground as well. Shavan, tell us more about this fresh update that we're picking up, where Tejaswi Yadav has stated that he will not be able to be present before the CBI today since he has to, he has to look after his wife. He's taking her to the hospital. But speak to us a little bit about the summons that has been sent to him and the trouble mounting for him, not just with the CBI but also with the Enforcement Directorate as well, Shavan.
Well, in fact, the first summon that was sent out on 4th of February, turns out that he did not respond to those summons also. Now, the summon that was sent out, he was asked to appear before the central agency in the national capital sometime today. But it turns out that the CBI has now received a communication from the Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar, Tejaswi Yadav, that he'll not be able to respond to the summons today. Perhaps he's now asked for more time because he needs to attend to his wife who's in the hospital right now. Remains to be seen whether that request is going to be accepted by the Central Bureau of Investigation, and a fresh date would be given to him so that he can appear and perhaps join the investigation. Now, why exactly is the Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar being called in by the Central Bureau of Investigation, especially a scam which basically dates back to 2004 when he was perhaps 14 years old? The question here is that they believe that when Lalu Prasad Yadav was the Union Railway Minister, multiple jobs were actually given to undeserving candidates in lieu of cash as well as land. In fact, the Central Bureau of Investigation, they've come across property papers in the name of Lalu Prasad Yadav's family members, which includes his wife, daughter and also son. Apart from that, the Central Bureau of Investigation essentially suspects that the proceeds of crime that was generated from this particular scam was being diverted through a company that has been linked somewhere or the other to Tejaswi Yadav. And that very money was actually used for constructing a mall in Gurugram, the same very place where the searches were carried out by the Central Bureau of Investigation. But remember, this is an allegation that has been completely refuted by Tejaswi Yadav, saying that first of all, he was a child when this so-called scam actually took place, and more importantly, he has no role to play even after that. He's also dared the agency, saying and that whether at all they have evidence to suggest that this particular company that is under the scanner has any links with Tejaswi Yadav. In fact, I'm told that Chittaranjan from the RJD is joining us. Chittaranjan जी, वापस तेजस्वी यादव को समन किया गया, वो कह रहे हैं कि आज वो नहीं आ पाएंगे. सवाल ये उठता है कि कहीं ना कहीं सीबीआई लगातार ये कहती है कि उनके खिलाफ सबूत है उनके पास और जिसके कारण उन्होंने ये समन भेजे. आरजेडी की इस पूरे मामले पर क्या पोजीशन रहा है?
वो जब जनादेश के माध्यम से जिन्हें नहीं वह हरा सकती है, जिनका मुकाबला नहीं कर सकती है, तो सीबीआई, ईडी, आईटी का इस्तेमाल कर रही है. जिस समय का मामला है, तेजस्वी यादव उस समय नाबालिग थे, कहीं कोई सियासत से कोई वास्ता नहीं था, इस मामला में उनका नाम भी नहीं था. अब जो है सो सीबीआई के द्वारा बार बार सम्मान कर कर बुलाना, कहीं न कहीं सीबीआई की जो मानसिकता है भाजपा के इशारे पर, उसको यह इंगित कर रही है, क्योंकि जिस मामला से कहीं कुछ लेना देना तेजस्वी यादव को नहीं है और उस मामले में सम्मान करके बुलाना यह कहीं से भी हजम होने वाली बात नहीं है. तो पूरे देश में जो जो दल या जो नेता इनके विरोध में खड़ी है, इनका विरोध कर रही है, उन सारे के खिलाफ कहीं सीबीआई, कहीं ईडी, कहीं आईटी का इस्तेमाल कर, यह जो है सो 2024 के चुनाव की जो इनकी रणनीति है, सारे नेताओं को इसमें उलझा कर रखो और उसके बाद जो है सो इनका चरित्र हनन करो और उस हिसाब से अपना 24 का चुनावी फतह करने के अथी में है. लेकिन जनता सब देख रही है, समझ रही है और जनता इनको जवाब देगी.
ప్రధానమైనటువంటి ఆరోపణలు ఉన్నాయి. వీటితో పాటుగా నిన్న మనీష్ సిసోడియాను కోర్టులో హాజరుపరిచిన సమయంలో కూడా ఇవే అంశాలను
Well, that was Chittaranjan of the RJD once again levelling the allegation that if at all the Bharatiya Janata Party does not win the mandate of the people, that's when they essentially use the central agencies. It does appear right now, Priyanka, that perhaps the corruption cases and the investigation against these corruption cases is almost becoming like a glue for the opposition parties. As we speak right now, where we are broadcasting right now from, that's the Enforcement Directorate's headquarters, where BRS leader K. Kavita is being questioned in the liquor scam. Apart from that, you already have the former Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, who's behind bars. He's now been taken into the custody of the Enforcement Directorate. All of them, I remember, levelling the same charge. Visuals now coming in from the national capital, where there's been a massive show of strength by the BRS once K. Kavita had stepped in. The protests are basically underway of the BRS leaders once again questioning the Bharatiya Janata Party, targeting the BJP, saying that their leader is essentially being victimized only because of some sort of a political vendetta, keeping in mind that the BRS does not really see. We'll try and go across to our reporters on the ground, but what the BRS leaders essentially saying that failing to make much inroad in Telangana right now, the Bharatiya Janata Party is essentially resorting to targeting their leaders, especially with the involvement of various of the central agencies. Let's try and go across to our reporters on the ground. Sambhav, who's been reporting from the protest site right now. We'll try and go across in a short while from now. Over to you, Priyanka.
Well, that's right, Shavan. These are some of the visuals that we're putting out on our screens for our viewers to understand, to get an understanding of what's happening on the ground, because of course there is a massive crackdown by the investigating agencies, then be it the ED or the CBI. But as of now, these images of course are coming to light from outside of the ED office, where in fact we had seen that the BRS leaders in fact had been carrying out this protest. They had been stating that K. Kavita being called to the Enforcement Directorate is also a political vendetta. We had seen KCR already crying foul over this summons as well. And as of now, we are looking at these images of the protest. But Shaman, if I could come to you to understand what's really happening inside of the ED office, because these are of course the protest visuals from outside. As of now, K. Kavita is inside of the ED office and her statement, if I'm not wrong, is also being recorded. If you could also throw some light on that from as to what you are also picking up from your sources, as far as what we can expect when K. Kavita is concerned, as her statement is going to be recorded right now. And we had seen KCR already stating that she might be taken into custody right after her statement is also recorded. If you could also speak on that and anything that you're picking up from inside of the ED office from your sources, Shaman.
Well, in fact, Priyanka, let me just quickly clarify the point that you made. As far as arrest is concerned or a coercive action against K. Kavita, there's absolutely no word of that coming in from the Enforcement Directorate. Perhaps some political leaders are jumping the guns at this point in time, because this is for the first time K. Kavita is being questioned by the Enforcement Directorate. She was earlier examined, but that was by another agency, that's the Central Bureau of Investigation. So as far as punitive action are concerned, that is certainly not clear at this point in time. What is important right now is that a joint interrogation of K. Kavita and Arun Ramachandra Pillai. Now, Arun Ramachandra Pillai, who happens to be a businessman, was part of the South group. It is he, in his statement, has actually named K. Kavita, and that is the reason why the Enforcement Directorate says that this is a natural process of law, and that is the reason why she's being called in for questioning. Whether some political leaders actually jump the gun, we've seen the Aam Aadmi Party doing it time and again, where they've essentially said that the only purpose of calling Manish Sisodia was to arrest him. It did actually happen later in the day, but that was only after the second summons were issued. He had appeared for the second time, that too before the same very agency. I cannot perhaps stick my neck out by saying that there could be a punitive action taken against K. Kavita, because this is for the first time she's going to be examined. Importantly, there are multiple issues that the Enforcement Directorate would be looking into, especially the allegations that have been leveled by her alleged close associate Arun Ramachandra Pillai. In fact, we had taken that question to K. Kavita in our interview, where we did ask her whether she knew Arun Ramachandra Pillai, or for that matter Abhishek Boinpalli, who has also been arrested, to which she hasn't really given a clear answer. She says that she's a political leader, she's met a lot of people. If that's the case, she can't take responsibility for the alleged crimes that have been committed by these people. Let me also quickly bring in my colleague Harsha, who's joining us on this broadcast. She's also been tracking the story very closely. She's been speaking to multiple BRS leaders. Let's understand the political game behind this, because as far as the investigation goes, that's going to continue. But it seems that there is also a massive political war that has erupted on the streets of the national capital, where BRS leaders have come in huge numbers. In fact, KTR, Kavita's brother, is also in the national capital. What more are you picking up, Harsha, in terms of the strategy perhaps being adopted by the BRS leaders, and if at all we could perhaps reach out to some of the BRS leaders and see if they have anything to say?
Shaman, so right now outside, the visuals from outside Telangana Bhavan, because a huge protest was planned by BRS leaders and Karyakartas. First it was planned outside DDU Marg, where is a BJP office, but now the protest is happening outside Telangana Bhavan, where the effigy of Bandi Sanjay Garu is being burnt. This is Bandi Sanjay Garu is the BJP president in Telangana, and 3 days earlier, Shawan, he made a comment after the ED issued summon to K. Kavita, where Bandi Sanjay Garu clearly stated that if someone is doing a crime, they will be punished and not appreciated. Now, BRS Karyakartas are continuously saying that the modesty of women is questioned and by Bandi Sanjay Garu, and therefore the effigy of Bandi Sanjay Garu is being burnt here along with PM Modi effigy, where they are saying that they are targeting K. Kavita, and the sloganeering and chant against Bandi Sanjay Garu could continuously be heard outside Telangana Bhavan. But on the other side, Bandi Sanjay has issued a statement where they are saying that they are twisting the dialect of Bandi Sanjay, because they have caught his Telugu. In Telugu, he didn't mean that. He have not questioned the modesty of K. Kavita. On the other side, he was saying something else. The BRS is making this entire thing as an issue because they want to create unrest in the state where the security of women is still questionable. And yesterday also, Bandi Sanjay along with others protested in Hyderabad against the law and order which is happening in the state, which is with the unrest which is created in the state by BRS leaders. Now the political war has already started between BRS and BJP. On one side, they are protesting in Hyderabad. On the other side, the protest is also happening in national capital on the streets outside Telangana Bhavan. Shavan, back to you.
Well, thank you very much, Harsha. We'll keep coming back to you as we closely track the developments that are taking place outside the Telangana Bhavan, where the protest will continue. Now, this time, the target essentially happens to be the Telangana BJP chief, Bandi Sanjay, who's, remember, they've essentially, the BRS has essentially leveled charges against top BJP leaders, saying that if BL Santosh cannot appear before the SIT that has been formed, then how exactly can anyone expect other leaders to really cooperate? In fact, they've taken a high moral ground, saying that since we have nothing to be afraid of, we are more than willing to subject ourselves before the investigative agencies. And that is the reason why she says that she's not knocking the doors of the court at this point in time, because she believes that she would like to rather come clean on this entire matter by appearing before the Enforcement Directorate. She has basically drawn a parallel with that of people like BL Santosh, who she says that the SIT that was formed by the Telangana government, and he was actually called in for questioning understanding, he did not. In fact, he was running around, going back to the courts, looking for some sort of a reprieve. But as far as she's concerned, she says that she's going to take it head on and let this political fight continue. Having said that, the central agencies are indicating that they have nothing to do with the political fight. They have evidence against her, and in fact, even the Deputy Chief Minister, former Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, that is the reason why such kind of actions have been taken by the central agencies. Priyanka.
That's right. All right. Thank you so much, Shaban, Harsha, for joining us and breaking down the details of what's really happening on the ground, and also what we can expect going forward as the case proceeds further and investigation is done by the agencies as well. For the moment, we shift our focus to what's happened with the Prime Minister. In fact, while he was speaking at a post-budget webinar on the Prime Minister's Vishwakarma Kaushal Samman scheme, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi underlined the need for working in mission mode to help the artisans living in the remote areas and to make them a part of the value chain as well. This is something that has been stressed upon by the Prime Minister time and time again. Here's all that you need to know on the same.
सभी स्टेक होल्डर्स ने इस बजट को कैसे सर्वाधिक उपकारक बनाया जाए, इसके क्या रास्ते हो सकते हैं, इसकी सटीक चर्चा की है। ये हमारे लिए लोकतंत्र का एक नया और महत्वपूर्ण अध्याय है। जो चर्चा संसद में होती है, जो चर्चा सांसद करते हैं, वैसे ही गहन विचार जनता जनार्दन से भी मिलना अपने आप में बहुत ही उपकारक ये एक्सरसाइज है। आज बजट का ये वेबिनार भारत के करोड़ों लोगों के हुनर, उनके कौशल को समर्पित है। बीते वर्षों में हमने स्किल इंडिया मिशन के माध्यम से, कौशल विकास केंद्रों के माध्यम से करोड़ों युवाओं की स्किल बढ़ाने, उन्हें रोजगार के नए अवसर देने का काम किया है। कौशल जैसे क्षेत्र में हम जितना स्पेसिफिक होंगे, जितनी टारगेटेड अप्रोच होगी, उतने ही बेहतर परिणाम मिलेंगे। पीएम विश्वकर्मा कौशल सम्मान योजना, और उसको अगर सरल भाषा में कहना है तो पीएम विश्वकर्मा योजना, ये इसी सोच का नतीजा है। इस बजट में पीएम विश्वकर्मा योजना के ऐलान से आमतौर पर व्यापक चर्चा हुई है, अखबारों का भी ध्यान गया है, जो अर्थवेत्ता हैं उनका भी ध्यान गया है, और इसलिए इस योजना की घोषणा ही एक आकर्षण का केंद्र बन गई है।
Time now here for a short break, viewers. Coming up on the other side, BJP protests in Jaipur over Pulwama martyrs' widows and also getting you updates on how the BJP slams Tejaswi after the CBI summons to him. All those details after a very short break.
चलना एकदम अच्छी ड्राइव है, मजे करेंगे।
गाड़ी खराब हो गई और होटल में सिर्फ एक कमरा हो तो मैं जमीन पे नहीं सोऊंगा।
तू बिस्तर पे सो जाना, मैं जमीन पे सो जाऊंगी। दारू पिला के तेरा फायदा भी नहीं उठाऊंगी। आई नो तू डर रहा है, बट ट्रस्ट मी, मैं हूँ ना।
11,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals.
ये शाओलिन का मामला, ये मार्शल आर्ट्स का, whether it's kung fu, whether it's other martial arts that you've learned so many. शाओलिन कितना टफ था?
सर बहुत टफ था। वहाँ 6 दिन 7 घंटा हर रोज हमारा पहला एक्सरसाइज होता था 1000 मीटर का पहाड़ है, उसको हमको भागना पड़ता था 20 मिनट में, एंड लाइक अ डॉग ऑन हैंड एंड फीट वी हैड टू क्रॉल बैक द हिल, देन वी हैड टू बी इन अ स्क्वाट पोजीशन फॉर एटलीस्ट 1 आवर, और हमारी टांगें ऐसे हिल रही होती थी, एंड माई ईच एंड एवरी पार्ट ऑफ माई बॉडी वॉज पेनिंग, इट वॉज क्राइंग, मसल्स वॉज सोर। मतलब उस वक्त मैं कॉम्बी फ्रेम होती थी, कॉम्बी फ्रेम ले लेके ट्रेनिंग करता था मैं।
Bharatiya Janata Party is making it very clear that look, it's our own government, but we are starting our own investigation. We are doing it. What moral ground can K. Kavita or Manish Sisodia take?
Karnataka, an MLA's son is caught with 8 crores. They want to do an investigation with Lokayukta. Now in Telangana, we red-handedly caught agents of Bharatiya Janata Party trying to purchase our MLAs. And CBI comes over, takes over the entire investigation and says states cannot do it, we will do it. Now in Karnataka, if Lokayukta can do it, why in Telangana SIT cannot do it?
आप इंडिया आते हैं एंड देन यू स्टार्ट स्पेशल फोर्सेस, NSG, गरुड़, मार्कोस, किस तरीके से ये सफर शुरू हुआ स्पेशल फोर्सेस को ट्रेन करने?
कर्नल साहब, तो ही वॉज एट दैट टाइम CEO of 6AR, और पहली अपॉर्चुनिटी उन्होंने मुझे दी,
अच्छा,
टू ट्रेन हिज रेजिमेंट, एंड ही आस्क्ड मी कि आप इनको नाइफ टू नाइफ कॉम्बैट में खुकरी ट्रेन करो। जब मैंने ADG इन्फेंट्री के सामने वो डेमो दिया और उनको वो बहुत अलग लिखा, एज लॉन्ग एज आवर सोल्जर्स आर सेफ, दे गेट द बेस्ट, आई हैव नो प्रॉब्लम।
Focusing about the future of your party, 21 years after it was founded, now you've taken the national foray. The BRS has come into the picture. You're looking at stitching an alliance, and which becomes far more difficult. We've seen in multiple states there isn't any coordination between the opposition parties. So how exactly are you really looking at?
Our goal right now for 2024 is to dislodge the current Bharatiya Janata Party government at the center. For that goal, whoever has a similar line of thinking, we will work with them. KCR Garu had gone to meet Mamta Di, then he has gone to meet Uddhav Thackeray ji, Sharad Pawar ji. Every single politician in this country, Honorable KCR Garu has approached to make sure there is a understanding.
कहीं ना कहीं मार्शल आर्ट्स लड़ाई झगड़े खून खराबे से ज्यादा आई थिंक इट्स अबाउट हार्मनी ऑल्सो।
सर, इट्स अ पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम,
पूरा मार्शल आर्ट्स।
बिल्कुल, आपकी फौज में भी यही है, डिसिप्लिन, माइंड, बॉडी एंड स्पिरिट इज इन कमांड ऑफ यू। आपके पास गन है, बट आप किसी सिविलियन को गुस्सा आते गोली तो नहीं मार देते ना, यू हैव टू कंट्रोल दैट कंट्रोल कम्स फ्रॉम द माइंड एंड फ्रॉम द ट्रेनिंग, सो दैट जो आर्मी में हम बोलते हैं फोर्स कंटिन्यूम, किस फोर्स पे कितना फोर्स देना है, ये मेंटल कंट्रोल ट्रेनिंग से आता है, करेक्ट ट्रेनिंग से।
I see there are 2 pictures that have been doing the rounds, and you are seen in that picture along with Arun Ramachandra Pillai and Abhishek Bonpal. Both of them happen to be accused in that case. You are not an accused. Do you know Mr. Pillai and Mr. Bonpal?
A few of them I know, I might have known. Point here is, how are these few people that I know have been treated by ED? There are ED excesses today, there are IT excesses today, there are CBI excesses today happening in this country on the behest of a political party in power.
ये शाओलिन का मामला, ये मार्शल आर्ट्स का, वेदर इट्स कुंग फू, वेदर इट्स अदर मार्शल आर्ट्स दैट यू हैव लर्नड सो मेनी, शाओलिन कितना टफ था?
सर, बहुत टफ था। वहाँ 6 दिन 7 घंटा हर रोज। हमारा पहला एक्सरसाइज होता था 1000 मीटर का पहाड़ है, उसको हमको भागना पड़ता था 20 मिनट में, एंड लाइक अ डॉग ऑन हैंड एंड फीट वी हैड टू क्रॉल बैक द हिल, देन वी हैड टू बी इन अ स्क्वाट पोजीशन फॉर एटलीस्ट 1 आवर, और हमारी टांगें ऐसी हिल रही होती थी, एंड माई ईच एंड एवरी पार्ट ऑफ माई बॉडी वॉज पेनिंग, इट वॉज क्राइंग, मसल्स वॉज सोर। मतलब उस वक्त मैं कॉम्बी फ्रेम होती थी, कॉम्बी फ्रेम ले लेके ट्रेनिंग करता था मैं।
Bharatiya Janata Party is making it very clear that look, it's our own government, but we are starting our own investigation. We are doing it. What moral ground can K. Kavita or Manish Sisodia take?
Karnataka, an MLS son is caught with 8 crores. They want to do an investigation with Lokayukta. Now in Telangana, we red-handedly caught agents of Bharatiya Janata Party trying to purchase our MLS. And CBI
IRCTC और लैंड फॉर जॉब स्कैम में फिर से एक बार तुल पकड़ा है और सीबीआई और ईडी की दबिश जो है लालू परिवार पर कसता जा रहा है। और कल ईडी ने रेड किया लालू यादव के परिजनों के आवास पर दिल्ली में, फिर अबू दुजाना जो उनके पार्टी के हैं यहाँ पटना में। और हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं बिहार के पूर्व उप मुख्यमंत्री सुशील मोदी जी, जो कि प्रॉब्लम है। स्टार्ट हुई है और सीबीआई का भी दबिश बढ़ता जा रहा है और लालू परिवार जो कह रहा है कि पॉलिटिकल वेंडेटा के तहत किया जा रहा है।
ये तो एक रटाया वाक्य है कि राजनीतिक प्रतिद्वंदिता में कार्रवाई की जा रही है, लेकिन लालू यादव तो 4 मामलों में सजा याफ्ता है और चारा घोटाला को उजागर किसने किया? नीतीश कुमार और ललन सिंह ने उजागर किया। पटना हाईकोर्ट में सीबीआई जांच के लिए कौन गए? जनता दल के लोग गए, समता पार्टी के लोग गए, सीबीआई जांच हुई और लालू यादव को कोई बचा नहीं पाया, न मनमोहन सिंह बचा पाए न देवगौड़ा बचा पाए। और लालू यादव को एक नहीं 4 मामलों में सजा हो गई और अब वो मुखिया का भी चुनाव नहीं कर सकते। अब देखिए, लालू यादव आकंठ भ्रष्टाचार में डूबा हुआ व्यक्ति है और उनका एक ही नारा था, तुम मुझे जमीन दो मैं तुझे काम दूंगा। एमएलए बनना है तो जमीन दो, तो कांति सिंह को मंत्री बनाना था, जमीन लिखवा लिया, मकान लिखवा लिया। रघुनाथ झा से को मंत्री बनाना था तो गोपालगंज का मकान लिखवा लिया। और रेल मंत्री रहते हुए लालू यादव ने दर्जनों लोगों को नौकरी दी रेलवे के अंदर, उसके बदले में जमीन लिखवा लिया। यही मामला है, नौकरी के बदले जमीन का जो मामला है। और तो देखिए, सीबीआई के पास तो प्रमाण, पुख्ता प्रमाण है और ये प्रमाण देने वाले तो ललन सिंह है। 2008 में स्वर्गीय शरद यादव और ललन सिंह के दोनों लोग गए थे मनमोहन सिंह से मिलने के लिए, उनको लिखित ज्ञापन दिया, डॉक्यूमेंट दिया, लेकिन मनमोहन सिंह बैठ गए, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं किया। और फिर 2014 तक चूंकि लालू यादव की पार्टी के समर्थन से चलने वाली यूपी की सरकार थी, जब सरकार बदली और ललन जिस समय हम लोग के साथ थे, फिर दोबारा उन्होंने कागजात दिया। और देखिए, इस मामले में जो प्रारंभिक जांच प्रारंभ हुई है, वो जांच प्रारंभ हुई है, वो जांच 23 सितंबर 2021 को। और ललन जी ये जो कह रहे हैं कि जब से महागठबंधन बना तब से कार्रवाई तो गलत बोल रहे हैं। प्रारंभिक जांच सितंबर 2021 में प्रारंभ हुई, जिसमें नीतीश कुमार बीजेपी के साथ थे। और इस केस का एफआईआर कब दर्ज हुआ? 18 मई 2022 को, जब नीतीश कुमार बीजेपी के साथ थे। तो इससे कोई इसका संबंध नहीं कि वो बीजेपी के साथ रहे या जदयू के साथ रहे, किसके साथ रहे। और IRCTC घोटाले के बारे में जो नीतीश कुमार कर रहे हैं कि 5 साल हो गया, क्या हुआ? नीतीश जी 2 साल तो देश के अंदर कोविड था, कोविड की महामारी थी, कोर्ट बंद पड़े थे, सारी कार्रवाई स्थगित थी। तेजस्वी यादव को बिल लेना पड़ा, चार्जशीटेड है राबड़ी देवी और तेजस्वी यादव IRCTC घोटाले के अंदर। उस केस का चार्ज फ्रेम हो चुका है, उस केस का ट्रायल प्रारंभ होने जा रहा है, ताकि न्यायिक प्रक्रिया है, उसमें समय लगता है। और ये दूसरा मामला है, ये नौकरी के बदले जमीन लिखवाने का मामला है। और लालू यादव का नारा, तुम मुझे जमीन दो मैं तुम्हें नौकरी दूंगा।
नीतीश जी के सुर क्यों बदले हुए? वो कह रहे हैं, पहले 2017 में उन्होंने कहा था तेजस्वी यादव को, जब सीबीआई रेड हुई थी लैंड फॉर जॉब और IRCTC मामले में, तब साक्ष्य भी मिले थे तेजस्वी यादव के घर से, तो उन्होंने कहा था एक्सप्लेन कर दीजिए। अब कह रहे हैं कि 5 साल में कुछ हुआ नहीं, जब हम लोग आ गए तो फिर से कार्रवाई शुरू की। तो ये हमेशा सुर ताल जो बदलते रहते हैं नीतीश जी।
उनको प्रधानमंत्री बनना है, उनको लगता है कि बीजेपी के साथ रहकर तो प्रधानमंत्री बनने का सपना पूरा नहीं हो सकता, लेकिन शायद कहीं मुंगेरी लाल के हसीन सपने राजद कांग्रेस के साथ जाकर सच सकता है। इसलिए भ्रष्टाचारियों के पक्ष में खड़े हो गए। तो जिस व्यक्ति की पूरी जिंदगी भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ लड़ने में लगी, आज वह व्यक्ति भ्रष्टाचारियों को बचाने में लगे हुए हैं। वो व्यक्ति लैंड फॉर स्कैम के समर्थन में खड़े, जिन लोगों ने कागज उपलब्ध कराए। तो मैं ऐसे व्यक्ति के बारे में क्या टीका टिप्पणी, मुझे मेरे मन में बड़ा आदर उनके प्रति, लेकिन उस प्रकार से इनका जो ये जो उलटते पुलटते रहते हैं, कभी लालू के साथ, कभी लालू के विरोध में, कभी बीजेपी के साथ, कभी बीजेपी के विरोध में। ललन सिंह, ये तो उनके सबसे बड़े सिपा सलार थे, जो कागज लेकर दिल्ली सुप्रीम कोर्ट तक गए, घूमते रहे, कहाँ नहीं गए, और आज कह रहे हैं कि लालू निर्दोष है। तो हिम्मत है तो मैं चुनौती देता हूँ नीतीश कुमार और ललन सिंह को कि वो सार्वजनिक घोषणा करे कि लालू यादव को चारा घोटाले में हमारे फर्जी कागजात के आधार पर फंसा दिया गया, वो निर्दोष है, उन्होंने कोई भी गलत काम नहीं किया था। है तो हिम्मत घोषणा करें वो। लेकिन देखिए, इसलिए सीबीआई जो कार्रवाई कर रही है, भ्रष्टाचार से जुड़ा मामला ठोस प्रमाण है, इसलिए उनको बेल देना पड़ा। और ये लोग तो चाहते हैं कि देश में ऐसा लोकतंत्र आए जहां भ्रष्टाचार करने की खुली छूट मिल जाए।
नहीं, लालू जी का एक हमने सोशल मीडिया हैंडल पर देखा है एक बयान, उसमें कहा है उन्होंने कि गर्भवती महिलाएं जो बहू है उनकी, और उसके बाद उनकी बेटियों पर अत्याचार किया जा रहा है, और सीबीआई को एक तरीके से केज्ड पैरट बताया है, तोता। तो इस तरह की कार्रवाई जब जब चुनाव आता है, और हम लोग झुकने वाले नहीं हैं, ना ही मेरा कोई परिवार का व्यक्ति झुकेगा। क्या ये पॉलिटिक्स ऑफ वेंडेटा है जब चुनाव आता है?
झुके या न झुके, कौन झुकने के लिए कर रहा है? लेकिन आपके खिलाफ जो मामले, उसका जवाब तो दीजिए। और आखिर बताना चाहिए लालू यादव को कि वो 25 साल के अंदर या 30 साल के अंदर 141 भूखंड, 141 जमीन का टुकड़ा, 30 फ्लैट और आधे दर्जन मकान के मालिक कैसे बन गए? तेजस्वी यादव को बताना चाहिए कि 29 साल की उम्र में 52 संपत्ति के मालिक कैसे बन गए? कल ईडी ने जिस मकान में रेड किया, जो D1008 न्यू फ्रेंड्स कॉलोनी नई दिल्ली की पॉश कॉलोनी का 4 मंजिला शानदार मकान है, जिसकी कीमत 100 करोड़ रुपया है, उसके मालिक तेजस्वी यादव कैसे बन गए? और आखिर रेड के अंदर अगर 53 लाख नगद मिलता है, 550 ग्राम सोने का बिस्किट मिलता है, 1.5 किलो गोल्ड ज्वेलरी मिलती है, तो आपके पास इन बातों का कोई जवाब नहीं है। आपने न तो कभी नौकरी की, न तो कभी आपने व्यापार।
तेजस्वी तो कहते हैं कि मैं क्रिकेट खेलता था, मेरा मूछ भी नहीं था।
तो क्रिकेट में इतना पैसा किसी को मिला है क्या? जो क्रिकेट के अंदर है, क्रिकेट के मैदान से बाहर कर दिए गए, तो क्यों नहीं क्रिकेट में रहते? वो कितना कमा लिया क्रिकेट के अंदर कि 53 संपत्ति के 52 संपत्ति के मालिक बन गए, दिल्ली में 100 करोड़ के मकान के मालिक बन गए। तो यह पूरी जिंदगी खप जाती क्रिकेट खेलते खेलते, तब तो लोगों को इतनी संपत्ति बना ही नहीं पाते। और इन्होंने केवल 29 साल की उम्र में 52 संपत्ति के मालिक।
आज उनको सम्मन किया गया है सीबीआई को। आज उनको सम्मन किया गया है सीबीआई को।
So, well, that's an exclusive Republic interview. Sushil Modi of Bihar speaking with Prakash Singh, our senior editor, special projects on Tejaswi Yadav, the CBI summons to Tejaswi Yadav, and Sushil Modi there saying that Tejaswi and the RJD as a whole need to answer many questions, not just them, but Nitish Kumar as well. And Nitish Kumar has come out in defense, in fact, of Tejaswi Yadav. Now a complete change of stance. Let's listen in to what the Bihar Chief Minister had to say about this entire issue.
आप बताइए ना, हम आपको बता दिए 17 में हुआ, तब फिर क्या हुआ? अब 5 साल के बाद फिर हो रहा है, और सब कुछ हो गया, तो क्या हुआ? अब काहे नहीं उस समय हुआ था?
Nitish Kumar there clearly, well, he's questioning the CBI action now. He says that well, as you can see, Tejaswi Yadav now in the dock. He has evaded the summons today, not appearing before the CBI. Let's move on now to other top stories. Conman Sukesh Chandrasekhar has written to Delhi LG VK Saxena, seeking his intervention on alleged false news being spread by AAP. Sukesh has said, and I quote, Manish Sisodia, everyone should know, is lodged now in Jail 1 Ward 9, which is a VVIP ward in Tihar, where till date only high-profile VVIP persons have been lodged. After Delhi police launched an investigation into a molestation video that had gone viral amid Holi celebrations. DCW Chief Swati Maliwal tweeted, and I quote, "My blood boils every time I watch this video. I will not spare any of them no matter what happens. We will make sure one of these ruffians ends up behind bars." Delhi police say they are probing the video of the harassment of a Japanese woman that went viral amid Holi celebrations. Police further say that 3 boys, including 1 juvenile, have been apprehended in this regard. Delhi police say they are waiting for a detailed post-mortem report to know the exact cause of the death of actor Satish Kaushik. A crime team of district police visited the farmhouse in southwest Delhi, where the party was organized, and recovered some medicines. Gujarat Assembly on Friday passes resolution requesting Centre to take strict action against the BBC for tarnishing the image of Prime Minister Modi with its documentary on the 2002 Godhra riots. The Gujarat Home Minister Harsh Sanghvi said in the Assembly that the documentary is against Indian citizens. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister approves proposal for development of world-class infrastructure projects worth 465 crore rupees in anticipation of a significant increase in number of tourists visiting Ayodhya. State Cabinet led by CM Yogi approves the proposal. Ahead of the Assembly elections, Karnataka Housing Minister V. Sommanna hints of leaving the BJP after his name was not included in the party's election management committee. Elections to 224-member Karnataka Assembly are slated to be held this year. Police seize 1.300 kg of heroin from a vehicle in Karimganj along the Assam-Mizoram border. 100 soap cases containing drugs from the secret chambers of a vehicle were recovered. 3 people apprehended. Case under NDPS Act registered. Two government employees caught red-handed for accepting bribes by team of Directorate of Vigilance and Anti-Corruption in Assam. Case registered in ACB police station on March 10th under Section 120B IPC 7A of Prevention of Corruption Act 1988. Necessary legal action is underway. KPCC working president R. Dhruv Narayan, 62, passed away in Mysuru this morning. Dhruv Narayan, a former MP representing Chamarajanagar Lok Sabha constituency, suffered a cardiac arrest and passed away at his residence in Mysuru. Dhruv Narayan was among the aspirants in the Congress party for a ticket to the Nanjangud Assembly constituency in Mysuru in the coming elections. Stay tuned as we bring you all the news on K. Kavita being questioned by the ED in connection with Liquorgate. Also poster war in Hyderabad ahead of K. Kavita's questioning.
प्यार करना है टाइम पास करना है।
टाइम पास भी ऐसी किसी के भी साथ तो नहीं कर सकती ना, उसकी भी लाइफ कोई मिलना चाहिए ना।
You mean मेरे जैसा कोई हैंडसम, गुड लुकिंग, रिच, लवेबल, हम्बल, रिस्पेक्टफुल, रोमांटिक, प्यारा
और लवेबल सेम होता है।
मैं दोनों हूँ, हिंदी में भी इंग्लिश में भी।
11,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals.
I see there are 2 pictures that have been doing the rounds, and you are seen in that picture along with Arun Ramachandra Pillai and Abhishek Bonpal. Both of them happen to be accused in that case. You are not an accused. Do you know Mr. Pillai and Mr. Bonpal?
A few of them I know, I might have known. Point here is, how are these few people that I know have been treated by ED? There are ED excesses today, there are IT excesses today, there are CBI excesses today happening in this country on the behest of a political party in power.
ये शाओलिन का मामला, ये मार्शल आर्ट्स का, whether it's kung fu, whether it's other martial arts that you've learned so many, शाओलिन कितना टफ था?
सर बहुत टफ था। वहाँ 6 दिन 7 घंटा हर रोज। हमारा पहला एक्सरसाइज होता था 1000 मीटर का पहाड़ है, उसको हमको भागना पड़ता था 20 मिनट में, एंड लाइक अ डॉग ऑन हैंड एंड फीट वी हैड टू क्रॉल बैक द हिल, देन वी हैड टू बी इन अ स्क्वाट पोजीशन फॉर एटलीस्ट 1 आवर, और हमारी टांगें ऐसी हिल रही होती थी, एंड माई ईच एंड एवरी पार्ट ऑफ माई बॉडी वॉज पेनिंग, इट वॉज क्राइंग, मसल्स वॉज सोर। मतलब उस वक्त मैं कॉम्बी फ्रेम होती थी, कॉम्बी फ्रेम ले लेके ट्रेनिंग करता था मैं।
Bharatiya Janata Party is making it very clear that look, it's our own government, but we are starting our own investigation. We are doing it. What moral ground can K. Kavita or Manish Sisodia take?
Karnataka and MLS Sun is caught with 8 crores. They want to do an investigation with Lokayukta. Now in Telangana, we red-handedly caught agents of Bharatiya Janata Party trying to purchase our MLS. And CBI comes over, takes over the entire investigation and says states cannot do it, we will do it. Now in Karnataka, if Lokayukta can do it, why in Telangana SIT cannot do it?
आप इंडिया आते हैं and then you start special forces, NSG, गरुड़, मार्कोस, किस तरीके से ये सफर शुरू हुआ स्पेशल फोर्सेस को ट्रेन करने?
कर्नल साहब, तो ही वॉज एट दैट टाइम CEO of 6AR, और पहली अपॉर्चुनिटी उन्होंने मुझे दी
अच्छा
टू ट्रेन हिज रेजिमेंट, एंड ही आस्क्ड मी कि आप इनको नाइफ टू नाइफ कॉम्बैट में खुकरी ट्रेन करो। जब मैंने ADG इन्फेंट्री के सामने वो डेमो दिया और उनको वो बहुत अलग लिखा, एज लॉन्ग एज आवर सोल्जर्स आर सेफ, दे गेट द बेस्ट, आई हैव नो प्रॉब्लम।
Focusing about the future of your party, 21 years after it was founded, now you've taken the national foray. The BRS has come into the picture. You're looking at stitching an alliance, and which becomes far more difficult. We've seen in multiple states there isn't any coordination between the opposition parties. So how
And news that's coming in, the BJP is protesting against the Gehlot government's ill treatment of Pulwama martyrs' widows in Rajasthan. The Veer Naris who are demanding compensation from the Rajasthan government are still missing after their detention in the early morning hours of Friday. And to tell us more on the latest with regards to the story is my colleague Piyush Ohri, who's joining me from the protest site. Piyush, earlier you were telling us that you do have some details from your sources about the presence of where exactly the Pulwama martyrs are, who have since disappeared. So can you confirm this? Are they at undisclosed locations in Bharatpur still? Also an update on the protest and the kind of turn it has taken.
So yes, Rukma, let me just, while I speak, I will ask you to show the visuals over here by my video journalist Vijay Narudeshwar, and you can see that there is hordes of BJP workers that have now come as BJP Rajasthan is officially also planning and preparing itself for fighting the assembly elections that is going to be coming into the state in just few months. But that is not important. What is more important is that will the honor and demands of the Veer Naris, will the demands and honor of the widows of the CRPF martyrs be met? Now what we have been told is that the Rajasthan police, in order to make sure that the situation does not get aggravated much, has kept them in undisclosed locations at their hometowns, which is in Jaipur, Outer, Kota and Bharatpur. As of now, we have been told that this location at which they have been kept is secret because the Rajasthan police does not want the situation to get vitiated much. But this only highlights about how badly the Ashok Gehlot government has treated the entire matter. One may feel that the demands of the widows may be complicated and all demands cannot be met. But what cannot be explained and what really cannot be pardoned is that why Ashok Gehlot is not meeting these brave widows and is taking a very insensitive stand towards the handling of these brave widows. Because in these last few days, we have seen brave widows being abused. We have seen these brave widows being manhandled by the male police officials. And now it becomes a major responsibility for the Ashok Gehlot government to just correct its stand. And while it does so, the BJP is also finding an opportunity to prepare itself for the assembly elections. And the proof of this you can see at this massive rally which is being held over here at its headquarters. Back to the studio.
कहीं ना कहीं मार्शल आर्ट्स लड़ाई झगड़े खून खराबे से ज्यादा आई थिंक इट्स अबाउट हार्मनी ऑल्सो.
सर इट्स अ पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम.
पूरा मार्शल आर्ट्स.
बिल्कुल. आपकी फौज में भी यही है. डिसिप्लिन, माइंड, बॉडी एंड स्पिरिट इज इन कमांड ऑफ यू. आपके पास गन है बट आप किसी सिविलियन को गुस्सा आते गोली तो नहीं मार देते ना. यू हैव टू कंट्रोल दैट. दैट कंट्रोल कम्स फ्रॉम द माइंड एंड फ्रॉम द ट्रेनिंग. सो दैट जो आर्मी में हम बोलते हैं फोर्स कंटिन्यूम.
यस.
किस फोर्स पे कितना फोर्स देना है ये मेंटल कंट्रोल ट्रेनिंग से आता है. करेक्ट ट्रेनिंग से.
I see there are two pictures that have been doing the rounds, and you are seen in that picture along with Arun Ramachandra Pillai and Abhishek Bonpal. Both of them happen to be accused in that case. You are not an accused. Do you know Mr. Pillai and Mr. Bonpal?
A few of them I know, I might have known. Point here is, how are these few people that I know have been treated by ED? There are ED excesses today, there are IT excesses today, there are CBI excesses today happening in this country on the behest of a political party in power.
ये शाओलिन का मामला, ये मार्शल आर्ट्स का, वेदर इट्स कुंग फू, वेदर इट्स अदर मार्शल आर्ट दैट यू हैव लर्नड सो मेनी. शाओलिन कितना टफ था?
सर बहुत टफ था. वहाँ 6 दिन 7 घंटा हर रोज. हमारा पहला एक्सरसाइज होता था 1000 मीटर का पहाड़ है, उसको हमको भागना पड़ता था 20 मिनट में. एंड लाइक अ डॉग ऑन हैंड एंड फीट वी हैड टू क्रॉल बैक द हिल. देन वी हैड टू बी इन अ स्क्वाट पोजीशन फॉर एटलीस्ट 1 आवर. और हमारी टांगें ऐसे हिल रही होती थी. एंड each and every part of my body was paining. It was crying. Muscles were sore. मतलब उस वक्त मैं कॉम्बी फ्रेम होती थी, कॉम्बी फ्रेम ले लेके ट्रेनिंग करता था मैं.
Bharatiya Janata Party is making it very clear that look, it's our own government, but we are starting our own investigation. We are doing it. What moral ground can K. Kavita or Manish Sisodia take?
Karnataka and MLS Sun is caught with 8 crores. They want to do an investigation with Lokayukta. Now in Telangana, we red-handedly caught agents of Bharatiya Janata Party trying to purchase our MLS. And CBI comes over, takes over the entire investigation and says states cannot do it, we will do it. Now in Karnataka, if Lokayukta can do it, why in Telangana SIT cannot do it?
आप इंडिया आते हैं एंड देन यू स्टार्ट स्पेशल फोर्सेस, एनएसजी, गरुड़, मार्कोस. किस तरीके से ये सफर शुरू हुआ स्पेशल फोर्सेस को ट्रेन करने?
कर्नल साहब तो ही वाज एट दैट टाइम.
कहीं ना कहीं मार्शल आर्ट्स लड़ाई झगड़े खून खराबे से ज्यादा आई थिंक इट्स अबाउट हार्मनी ऑल्सो.
सर इट्स अ पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम.
पूरा मार्शल आर्ट्स.
बिल्कुल. आपकी फौज में भी यही है. डिसिप्लिन, माइंड, बॉडी एंड स्पिरिट इज इन कमांड ऑफ यू. आपके पास गन है बट आप किसी सिविलियन को गुस्सा आते गोली तो नहीं मार देते ना. यू हैव टू कंट्रोल दैट. दैट कंट्रोल कम्स फ्रॉम द माइंड एंड फ्रॉम द ट्रेनिंग. सो दैट जो आर्मी में हम बोलते हैं फोर्स कंटिन्यूम.
यस.
किस फोर्स पे कितना फोर्स देना है ये मेंटल कंट्रोल ट्रेनिंग से आता है. करेक्ट ट्रेनिंग से.
Welcome back. You're watching Republic TV. In other news, international news, Latest updates from the Ukraine war. Ukrainian soldiers and tank crews took a brief respite on Wednesday as the conflict rolled on near the Ukrainian city of Tejaswi. As Russian forces continued their attempts to encircle Bakhmut, Ukrainian service personnel are determined to fight back as long as it's needed.
Fighting in the Ukrainian city of Bakhmut has escalated. Earlier, Russian forces attacked the town with S-300 missiles and cluster munitions. And thus, the determined Ukrainian troops fights back with fire artillery at Russian positions. While the muddy fields and weather causes hindrance to use armored vehicles, paratroopers' determination rages on. Watch how the paratroopers fired a powerful howitzer 2S1 towards Russian positions on the front line as well as soldiers in their dugouts. As a result of the shelling, 8 civilians were injured and about 14 houses, 9 cars, a gas pipe, garages, outbuildings and civil infrastructure were completely destroyed. Agency report for Republic TV.
Coming up, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation seizes the assets of Silicon Valley Bank as depositors pull cash. Also, full focus on South Group link and alleged cartelization in connection with Delhi excise policy scam.
Focusing about the future of your party. 21 years after it was founded, now you've taken the national foray. The BRS has come into the picture. You're looking at stitching an alliance, and which becomes far more difficult. We've seen in multiple states there isn't any coordination between the opposition parties. So how exactly are you really looking at?
Our goal right now for 2024 is to dislodge the current Bharatiya Janata Party government at the center. For that goal, whoever has a similar line of thinking, we will work with them. KCR Garu had gone to meet Mamta Di, then he has gone to meet Uddhav Thackeray ji, Sharad Pawar ji. Every single politician in this country, Honorable KCR Garu has approached to make sure there is an understanding.
कहीं ना कहीं मार्शल आर्ट्स लड़ाई झगड़े खून खराबे से ज्यादा आई थिंक इट्स अबाउट हार्मनी आल्सो.
सर इट्स अ पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम.
पूरा मार्शल आर्ट्स.
बिल्कुल.
जी.
आपकी फौज में भी यही है. डिसिप्लिन, माइंड, बॉडी एंड स्पिरिट इज इन कमांड ऑफ यू. आपके पास गन है बट आप किसी सिविलियन को गुस्सा आते गोली तो नहीं मार देते ना. यू हैव टू कंट्रोल दैट. दैट कंट्रोल कम्स फ्रॉम द माइंड एंड फ्रॉम द ट्रेनिंग. सो दैट जो आर्मी में हम बोलते हैं फोर्स कंटिन्यूम, किस फोर्स पे कितना फोर्स देना है, ये मेंटल कंट्रोल ट्रेनिंग से आता है, करेक्ट ट्रेनिंग से.
I see there are 2 pictures that have been doing the rounds, and you are seen in that picture along with Arun Ramachandra Pillai and Abhishek Bonpal. Both of them happen to be accused in that case. You are not an accused. Do you know Mr. Pillai and Mr. Bonpal?
A few of them I know, I might have known. Point here is, how are these few people that I know have been treated by ED? There are ED excesses today, there are IT excesses today, there are CBI excesses today happening in this country on the behest of a political party in power.
ये शाओलिन का मामला, ये मार्शल आर्ट्स का, whether it's kung fu, whether it's other martial arts that you've learned so many. शाओलिन कितना टफ था?
सर बहुत टफ था. वहाँ 6 दिन 7 घंटा हर रोज. हमारा पहला एक्सरसाइज होता था 1000 मीटर का पहाड़ है, उसको हमको भागना पड़ता था 20 मिनट में. एंड लाइक अ डॉग ऑन हैंड एंड फीट वी हैड टू क्रॉल बैक द हिल. देन वी हैड टू बी इन अ स्क्वाट पोजीशन फॉर एटलीस्ट 1 आवर. और हमारी टांगें ऐसी हिल रही होती थी. एंड my each and every part of my body was paining. It was crying. Muscles were sore. मतलब उस वक्त मैं कॉम्बी फ्रेम होती थी, कॉम्बी फ्रेम ले लेके ट्रेनिंग करता था मैं.
Bharatiya Janata Party is making it very clear that look, it's our own government, but we are starting our own investigation. We are doing it. What moral ground can Kavita or Manish Sisodia take?
Karnataka, an MLS son is caught with 8 crores. They want to do an investigation with Lokayukta. Now in Telangana, we red-handedly caught agents of Bharatiya Janata Party trying to purchase our MLS. And CBI comes over, takes over the entire investigation and says states cannot do it, we will do it. Now in Karnataka, if Lokayukta can do it, why in Telangana SIT cannot do it?
आप इंडिया आते हैं एंड देन यू स्टार्ट स्पेशल फोर्सेस, एनएसजी, गरुड़, मार्कोस, किस तरीके से ये सफर शुरू हुआ स्पेशल फोर्सेस को ट्रेन करने?
कर्नल साहब, तो ही वाज एट दैट टाइम CEO of 6AR और पहली अपॉर्चुनिटी उन्होंने मुझे दी।
अच्छा।
टू ट्रेन हिज रेजिमेंट एंड ही आस्क्ड मी कि आप इनको नाइफ टू नाइफ कॉम्बैट में खुकरी ट्रेन करो। जब मैंने ADG इन्फेंट्री के सामने वो डेमो दिया और उनको वो बहुत अलग लिखा, एज लॉन्ग एज आवर सोल्जर्स आर सेफ, दे गेट द बेस्ट, आई हैव नो प्रॉब्लम।
Focusing about the future of your party, 21 years after it was founded, now you've taken the national foray. The BRS has come into the picture. You're looking at stitching an alliance, and which becomes far more difficult. We've seen in multiple states there isn't any coordination between the opposition parties. So how exactly are you really looking at?
Our goal right now for 2024 is to dislodge the current Bharatiya Janata Party government at the center. For that goal, whoever has a similar line of thinking, we will work with them. KCR Garu had gone to meet Mamta Di, then he has gone to meet Uddhav Thackeray ji, Sharad Pawar ji. Every single politician in this country, Honorable KCR Garu has approached to make sure there is a understanding.
कहीं ना कहीं मार्शल आर्ट्स लड़ाई झगड़े खून खराबे से ज्यादा आई थिंक इट्स अबाउट हार्मनी आल्सो।
सर, इट्स अ पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम।
पूरा मार्शल आर्ट्स,
बिल्कुल। आपकी फौज में भी यही है, डिसिप्लिन, माइंड, बॉडी एंड स्पिरिट इज इन कमांड ऑफ यू। आपके पास गन है, बट आप किसी सिविलियन को गुस्सा आते गोली तो नहीं मार देते ना। यू हैव टू कंट्रोल दैट। दैट कंट्रोल कम्स फ्रॉम द माइंड एंड फ्रॉम द ट्रेनिंग। सो दैट जो आर्मी में हम बोलते हैं फोर्स कंटिन्यूम, किस फोर्स पे कितना फोर्स देना है, ये मेंटल कंट्रोल ट्रेनिंग से आता है, करेक्ट ट्रेनिंग से।
I see there are two pictures that have been doing the rounds, and you are seen in that picture along with Arun Ramachandra Pillai and Abhishek Goenpal. Both of them happen to be accused in that case. You are not an accused. Do you know Mr. Pillai and Mr. Goenpal?
A few of them I know, I might have known. Point here is, how are these few people that I know have been treated by ED? There are ED excesses today, there are IT excesses today, there are CBI excesses today happening in this country on the behest of a political party in power.
K. Kavita joins the ED investigation in connection with the liquor gate. BRS workers protest at the ED office. Full focus on South Group link and alleged cartelization in connection with the Delhi excise policy scam. Bihar Deputy Chief Minister summoned by the CBI in connection with Land for Jobs scam.
हैं, भावुक हैं, उनकी मानसिक स्थिति क्या होगी, क्या उन पर बीती होगी, तो बड़ी संवेदनशीलता से उनकी बातों को हमने सुनना जाना चाहिए था। तो उनको बैठकर समझाने का काम अगर किया गया होता, मैं समझता हूँ एक बेहतर तरीके से मामले को निपटाया जा सकता था।
Sachin Pilot questions Rajasthan Chief Minister Gehlot for mistreatment of Pulwama martyrs' widows. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation seized the assets of the Silicon Valley Bank as depositors pull cash. Straight away cutting across to some breaking updates that we're picking up, viewers. From the national capital to Hyderabad, BRS leaders are staging protest against the BJP state president Bandi Sanjay for making derogatory comments against Kavita, who is in the ED dock for the Liquorgate scandal. Now, Bandi Sanjay said, few journalists asked me if Kavita would be arrested. If or not arrested, should Kavita be kissed? His objectionable remarks have now triggered a massive controversy. Responding to the same, Bandi Sanjay has also released a statement that reads, and I quote, "Some of the statements made by about 3 days ago are being blown out of proportion." This is a common phrase used in Telugu language, which means if someone does a crime, would you appreciate or punish? Now, the BRS party, which is well aware of the dialect, is deliberately portraying it as an insult to women's modesty. This is a diversion tactic to create unrest in the state, as Chief Minister's daughter is summoned by the Enforcement Directorate in Delhi in the excise policy scandal. And those are the visuals that we're putting out on your screens of the protesters, the BRS leaders, the workers also carrying out these kind of protests, burning effigies. And we have seen the aggressive protests that they were also carrying out right outside the Enforcement Directorate office. But these are images this time around from Hyderabad as well. Let me go across to my colleague Aneri, who's on the ground reporting on this story. Aneri, take us through these images that we are getting right now of the BRS workers carrying out this protest. We see that there is a lot of effigies also being burnt. Over to you. Before I go to you, Aneri, we are getting several voices on this big story. Let's first up listen in to what Bandi Sanjay had to say. Then I'll come back to you for breaking updates. All right, let me first up once again go across to my colleague Aneri, who's on the ground reporting for us and getting us these images of this aggressive protest that we are looking at right now. Aneri, over to you. Walk us through these images of the protest being carried out by the BRS workers and what exactly are they protesting, and these remarks that were made as well as and what are the demands that are being also made by the BRS workers there.
Well, Priyanka, we have been seeing how there has been a massive face-off since the time ED had issued summons to the BRS MLC and also the daughter of Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao over the liquor scam. But then recently we had seen that Bandi Sanjay had also made a few comments against Kavita, and now we are seeing that how BRS cadres have been staging protests not only in the national capital but also here in Hyderabad. They have been staging protests over the comment made by Bandi Sanjay, and also at the same time the leaders here, the cadres of the Bharat Rashtra Samiti, have been raising questions on the central government over the ED summons to Kavita, and also at the same time we have been seeing that how there are posters which are put up here against Bandi Sanjay. But not to forget, Priyanka, we have been seeing that this is not the first time where Kavita is being questioned. Earlier, back then in 2022 December, we had seen Kavita being questioned by the CBI in the same Liquorgate scam. But then now when we talk about the ED summons which had been issued on the 8th of March, and she was asked to appear on the 9th of March in front of the Enforcement Directorate, but then she had sought for more time.
That's right, Aneri, but if I could also shift your focus, Aneri, if I could also shift your focus to this very, shocking statement that had also been made by Bandi Sanjay. And if you could put that into context for us, because now he is stating that this is being blown out of proportion, that this is a word that he used in the Telugu dialect. If you could explain that to us and for our viewers to understand what he had said and what he is claiming has been blown out of proportion.
Well, Priyanka, what BJP State President Bandi Sanjay had very clearly given a statement a few days back while addressing a gathering. He had said that when a few of them had asked me whether K. Kavita would be arrested, then he replied to it saying that if she won't be arrested, then what will she? Because that is the language which was used by BJP State President Bandi Sanjay. Well, and now issuing a clarification over it, we see that Bandi Sanjay has issued a statement saying that all of this has been blown out of proportion, and this is a very common language which is used, a common phrase which is being used in the Telugu language, and that is why it was not in any other context. However, the BRS leaders are trying to divert the attention from the questioning of K. Kavita, is what the statement of Bandi Sanjay reads. But then we are seeing that this statement of Bandi Sanjay has definitely blown a lot of anger among the BRS cadres. As you can see right now, the BRS cadres here are staging protests and raising slogans against Bandi Sanjay, and also at the same time they have been saying that the comments which are made by Bandi Sanjay, he should now apologize to K. Kavita over this particular comment which was made by Bandi Sanjay.
Aneri, those are very important details and images that you're getting to us from the ground. I implore you to stay with us and keep getting us those images. We'll keep coming back to you as and when the story develops. As of now, shifting our attention to what's really happening when it comes to the BJP protesting in Rajasthan. We're getting some more breaking updates on that front and some breaking visuals that we're putting out on your screens right now, viewers. The BJP is in fact protesting against the Gehlot government's mistreatment of the Pulwama martyrs' widows and the Veer Naris who are demanding compensation from the Rajasthan government are still missing